Chapter 688. It's hard to break through unless you are in the traversing realm. Xinghui looked at the distorted space in front of him, and his expression suddenly became serious. Moreover, if we use the teleportation technique to escape, we'll fall into a spatial mezzanine. Only Saint Stage powerhouses can barely survive in the spatial mezzanine, and if they want to escape from it, they have to seize the opportunity and use the heavenly paradise stone to explode and shatter the vacuum when they're close to the divine wilderness. But in our group, there's no real Saint Stage powerhouse. What's worse is that we've already used up all the heavenly paradise stones on us. If we really fall into the spatial mezzanine, we'll only die. Yuan nodded bitterly. Opportunities and dangers often go hand in hand. The greater the opportunity, the greater the danger. A spatial maze is not difficult for traversing realm existences to break through, but for cultivators like us who haven't even reached the Saint Stage, it's a hopeless situation. Is there no other way to get out? For example, using a vacuum-shattering attack to forcefully tear apart this spatial maze? Yuan shook her head. The only thing we can rejoice about now is that although the spatial maze can interfere with space and distort it, it can't block the power of the Chaos Temple. Let's enter the Chaos Temple and discuss it with the Venerables. Xinghui immediately sensed the Chaos Temple. Although the spatial maze couldn't block the power of the Chaos Temple, Xinghui clearly felt that it was much more difficult to sense the Chaos Temple compared to the outside world. It was estimated that those cultivators below the immortality realm who had yet to awaken might not be able to sense the Chaos Temple. Fortunately, for Xinghui and the others who were already standing at the peak of the Saint Stage, this kind of influence was nothing. Soon, everyone arrived in Xinghui's personal space. Xinghui, are you all right? When Master Cangzhen saw Xinghui and Yuan, he immediately asked, "Just now, we were suddenly attacked by Sword Qi, and Master Yuan instinctively counterattacked. Later, we determined that it should be your attack. Through these changes, Master Yuan has already deduced that we're now trapped in a spatial maze. This kind of maze is often set up by the top figures in ancient times to protect things that can't be brought into their personal space or their own world. Therefore, although we've found an extremely precious treasure, it's terrible that we're trapped in a spatial maze. Alas, the Chaos Temple without a temple master is too weak," Venerable Master Yuan sighed. This kind of Chaos Temple operates by instinct. The power of the Chaos Temple can only radiate into the world we are in. It can even affect some open spaces or special places. Therefore, if we want to use the teleportation technique given to us by our identities as sons of chaos to escape this spatial maze, there's a 99% chance that we will fall into a spatial mezzanine. With our cultivation bases, if we really fall into a spatial mezzanine, we will definitely die. Chaos Temple. Having a temple master and not having a temple master were two different concepts. It was like a large ship sailing in the vast sea. The difference between having a temple master and not having a temple master was like heaven and earth. The reason why the heavenly law, divine wilderness, and Eternal wanted to clear the place was to eliminate the wills of the other children of chaos so that they could smoothly take control of the Chaos Temple and become its temple master. Unfortunately, due to various reasons, the three of them had been unable to truly cooperate wholeheartedly, so they hadn't had the time to clear the place. Is there no way to break the spatial maze? Xinghui asked with a frown. There's almost no hope of breaking the spatial maze. Fortunately, we're not really trapped in a spatial maze. If we can raise the teleportation technique to the 5th stage, we can rely on the power of the 5th stage teleportation technique to teleport out without being affected. We can use the teleportation technique. However, if we upgrade the teleportation technique to the 5th level, we'll waste at least 500 Taoist rhymes worth of Taoist rhymes. Moreover, even if we do that, only one person will be able to leave this place. Xinghui said. Master Cangzhen and Master Yuan re-looked at each other, but their gazes fell on Xinghui. It doesn't matter if we're trapped inside. The key is you, Xinghui. You must get out. Only with you in charge can our heaven's vault develop safely. Otherwise, when the people of the heavenly lawn know that you're also trapped here and can't move, not only our heaven's vault, but the entire four-sect alliance will face a disaster when Tao's sovereign primal chaos returns in 3 months. Wait a minute. Things haven't reached the most critical moment yet. Don't jump to conclusions too early. The spatial maze. There's no way out. Master Yuan shook his head. If you want to get out of the spatial maze, you either have to cultivate to the 5th stage of the divine realm, which is the unhindered realm. This kind of person can ignore the spatial maze and violently penetrate it, or you have to cultivate the divine true body of the Kuan Peng bloodline. The divine beast Kuan Peng has a deep understanding of space. If you're a 4th stage divine realm expert who can transform into a Kuan Peng, you can rely on your understanding of space to get out of the spatial maze. Unfortunately, we don't even have a true divine realm expert, let alone someone who has cultivated the divine true body of the Kuan Peng. Master Tsongjin nodded, his face full of sadness. When the other almighty figures heard Venerable Yuanri and the others say that only those who were at least at the 4th or 5th level of the Saint Realm would have any hope of leaving the spatial maze, all of them were extremely dejected, and their eyes were filled with pessimism. Xinghui was also somewhat unwilling. However, after this kind of unwillingness lasted for a while, he suddenly thought of something. Wait a minute. The divine true body of the Kuan Peng bloodline. Master, does the so-called divine true body of the Kuan Peng bloodline cultivator refer to the divine true body condensed from the 4th stage of the divine realm, or does it refer to the time when he can perfectly borrow the divine beast Kuan Peng's innate talent? This, Master Yuan rethought for a while. It should be referring to the divine beast Kuan Peng's spatial innate talent. The divine beast Kuan Peng's innate talent. Xinghui's eyes flashed slightly. Do you have the divine beast Kuan Peng's blood? The divine beast Kuan Peng's blood? If it's not blood essence but blood, I have it at the 3rd stage of the divine realm. Master Tsongjin immediately spoke. I also have the divine beast Kuan Peng's blood, but its level is lower, only at the 1st stage of the divine realm. Yulan, who was beside Xinghui, also spoke. Then, let's give it a try. Reverend Tsongjin, Reverend Yuanri, don't act rashly. Although we are separated by the space maze, I believe that the distance between us isn't too far, because no one is controlling it. I'll think of a way to get to you and get the blood of the divine beast Kuan Peng, which is at the 3rd level of the Saint Realm. Xinghui, what are you going to do? Master Tsongjin's eyes lit up, and he hurriedly asked. Impossible. Apart from the 4th stage divine realm existence who has fused the divine soul of the Kuan Peng with his body, no one can pass through the spatial maze. Master Yuan shook his head. How do you know if you don't try? Xinghui said and left the Chaos Divine Palace. This is the Kuan Peng's blood. What are you going to do? After Yulan followed Xinghui out of the Chaos Divine Palace, she handed the Kuan Peng's blood to Xinghui. Because the current Xinghui was more than a little stronger than before, looking at the divine level Kuan Peng's blood, he didn't feel as breathless as when he saw the Torch Dragon's blood for the first time. Taking the Kuan Peng's blood, he smiled and said to Yulan, "Don't be too surprised later." After saying that, he directly used the Kuan Peng's blood. Then, his gaze fell on the characteristic derived from the 50th stage of the Chaos Divine Realm, the transformation technique. However, before using the transformation technique, considering the tyrannical nature of the divine beast bloodline, Xinghui hesitated for a while, and then his gaze fell on the backtrack technique first, activating it. With the backtrack technique as a foundation, the transformation technique quickly operated. The next moment, his body began to distort and expand rapidly. Under Yulan's somewhat shocked gaze, he continued to grow bigger, and bigger. In the blink of an eye, he had transformed into a divine beast Kuan Peng that was over 100 meters tall and nearly 200 meters with a wingspan. When this behemoth transformed, it was reasonable to say that it would directly reach the top of the underground palace, which was only 60 meters tall. However, this underground palace seemed to contain a mysterious power. It actually grew as Xinghui's body grew. Even though he was already 100 meters tall, it seemed that he still couldn't touch the top of the palace. Kuan Peng, Kuan Peng, divine beast Kuan Peng. Yulan, who was standing beside Xing Hui, looked at Xing Hui, who had transformed into such a behemoth, her eyes filled with unprecedented shock. Not good. Transforming into a divine beast is too difficult. My life structure is about to collapse. Xing Hui, who had transformed into the divine beast Kuan Peng, suddenly paled. However, he didn't have time to stop the transformation technique right away. Instead, he quickly swept his gaze around. In the shadow of the divine beast Kuan Peng, the space was no longer mysterious and ethereal. Instead, it had turned into lines and layers of gauze. Although he couldn't see too far, he could touch it. Relying on the divine beast Kuan Peng's transformation to support himself for a breath, his gaze instantly saw Master Zhang and Master Yuanri, who were separated by several layers of gauze, as well as Reverend Purple Sky and Reverend Wufa, who were not far away from them. Then, he tore with his sharp claws. He was clearly only at the first layer of the divine realm. Logically speaking, there was still a gap of 2 realms between him and the shattering vacuum technique. However, under his tearing, the space in front of him was like a fragile piece of paper, quickly splitting open, bang! The instant Xing Hui tore apart the layer of space between himself, Master Zhang, Master Yuanri, and Dark Phoenix, his life structure was finally unable to support the divine beast Kuan Peng's transformation and collapsed with a loud bang. The huge Kuan Peng's body instantly turned into a bloody mist, drifting away into the air. In the next second, under the incredulous gazes of Yulan, Master Zhang, Master Yuanri, and Dark Phoenix, Xing Hui's figure had already reappeared, directly landing in front of them. His expression was faintly unsightly. The first layer of the transformation technique is far from enough. I seem to have seen a divine beast Kuan Peng just now. However, that divine beast Kuan Peng died in the blink of an eye after appearing. What happened? Looking at Xing Su, who had reappeared, even the knowledgeable monk Zhang and monk Yuanri were dumbfounded. They felt like they were at a loss for what to do. Chapter 689. Xing Hui, what happened just now? Master Zhang looked at Xing Hui and Yulan, who suddenly appeared in front of them, his eyes filled with surprise. Why is there a divine beast Kuan Peng? Yulan also immediately looked at Xing Hui, waiting for his answer. After learning about the mystery of the dragonization fruit, Xing Hui planned to use the transformation technique to try to tear open the chaos primordial realm. Hearing Master Zhang's question, he didn't hide anything and directly said, "It's the transformation technique. With blood, it can transform people into blood-type creatures. It's a brand new characteristic derived from the chaos level reaching level 50. Level 50? Transformation technique?" Master Zhang, Master Yuanri, Xian Huang, Yulan, and the others couldn't help but exclaim. The 50th level was definitely an unprecedented level of chaos. Perhaps there have been people who had temporarily reached the 50th level in the heavenly Tao, eternal and divine wilderness, but no one from the Sky Dome realm had ever stepped into the 50th level of chaos. That's right, level 50. Master should know that I once had a chaos battle with Broken Sword. In that battle, I temporarily spent a large amount of Tao-carrying items to raise the chaos level to level 50 to be foolproof. From there, I learned the name of the characteristic derived from level 50. Didn't I get a Tao-carrying item with 1,500 Tao-carrying from the Black Flame sect not long ago? It just so happens that the problem we are facing now can't be solved without the divine beast Kuan Peng's talent. Therefore, I raised my chaos level again to see if I could transform into the divine beast Kuan Peng and use its talent to break the spatial maze. It turned out that it was effective. After saying that, a smile appeared on Xing Hui's face. The transformation technique can actually let people transform into the divine beast Kuan Peng. It's really amazing. Xing Hui, when you transformed into the divine beast Kuan Peng just now, did you have the confidence to break the spatial maze? Ching Su thought about what he had seen after he transformed into the divine beast Kuan. Even though space had already been reduced to thin veils and streaks before his eyes back then, perhaps because his cultivation was too weak, the range he could see was extremely limited. It was probably less than 30 meters away. If he wanted to break through the spatial formation that could turn everything upside down with his vision, there was no hope at all. Wait a minute. Are there any restrictions to this transformation technique? Why did I see the mythical Kuan Peng's body crumble and turn into a bloody mist as soon as it appeared? Then, I thought about how you asked me to collect as much blood of holy beasts as possible instead of mythical beasts. Is this transformation technique related to the strength of your life force and the strength of the transformed creatures? Just now, the Kuan Peng you transformed into collapsed and died. Was it because your life force couldn't support the transformation of the divine beast Kuan Peng? While Tsing Hui was silent, Master Tsongjun seemed to have thought of something and suddenly asked. Hearing his words, Venerable Yuanri, Yulan, and Xianhuang also calmed down a little. There must be a limit to such a powerful transformation technique. Otherwise, any cultivator would only need to push their chaos level to level 50 and transform into a powerful divine beast. Wouldn't they be invincible in the world? Why would they need to cultivate? After all, even a divine beast at level 1 of the divine realm was stronger than an ordinary expert. Master Tsongjun's guess is correct. There is indeed a limit to the transformation technique. The creatures that can be transformed and the duration of the transformation are related to the cultivator's level, strength, and life essence. I forcibly transformed into the divine beast Kuan Peng with my level 1 transformation technique, but you all saw the end result. I couldn't even hold on for a breath, and my body crumbled. If it weren't for the existence of the backtrack technique, I would have died by now. Tsing Hui nodded. Life essence. Master Tsongjun looked at Tsing Hui with bright eyes and said, if you were to consume the dragonification fruit and raise your life essence, would you be able to transform into the divine beast Kuan Peng again and break through the space maze? If you raise your life essence by 1 level, you should be able to maintain it for a long time. However, a level 1 divine realm Kuan Peng is clearly not enough to break through the space maze. Fortunately, Venerable Master has the blood of a level 3 divine realm Kuan Peng. When the time comes, you can give it a try. Can your body withstand it? Tsing Hui smiled and said, the strength and duration of the transformation technique are related to the cultivator's strength, life essence, and the transformation technique's level. When my life essence is raised, the level 1 transformation technique won't be able to withstand the transformation of a level 3 divine realm Kuan Peng. At most, I will raise my primal chaos realm by 1 level to the 2nd level. If the 2nd level doesn't work, I will raise my primal chaos realm to the 3rd level. If the 3rd level doesn't work, I will raise my primal chaos realm to the 4th, 5th, or 6th level. Master Tsongjun knew that Tsing Hui had extorted 1,500 years' worth of primal chaos realm items from the Black Flame sect. Therefore, he didn't doubt Tsing Hui's claim that he could raise his primal chaos realm by 10 levels. There is no time to lose. Tsing Hui, you should consume the dragonification fruit now. After all, every day we delay will consume 2 Taoist rhymes, right? Who will be able to endure it for a long time? Master Tsongjun said solemnly. In the end, he turned his gaze to the others and said, I plan to give the dragonification fruit to Tsing Hui as much as possible. Since we discovered the dragonification fruit together, it is reasonable to say that each of us should have one. Therefore, I need to ask for your opinion. Master Tsongjun, you don't have to say much. Let Tsing Hui consume the fruit as much as possible. We are currently trapped in this space maze. If it wasn't for Master Tsing Hui, we would have been trapped to death or perished in the space maze. I have no objections to giving the dragonification fruit to Master Tsing Hui to save our lives. Xianhuang said immediately. Master Yunri nodded slightly and said, in order to save us, Master Tsing Hui raised his primal chaos level to the 50th level. I'm afraid that he will need to raise his primal chaos level again. After the 45th level, He will need 2 Taoist rhymes for every day. It is definitely not something that an ordinary person can bear. At that time, Master Tsing Hui's primal chaos level will fall. This is a loss of at least 1,000 Taoist rhymes. Compared to Master Tsing Hui, we are only giving up the right to distribute the dragonification fruit. It is nothing. Yuan also nodded slightly and agreed with Master Yuanri and Master Tsongjin's suggestion. Seeing that no one had any objections, the Zongjin monk immediately took out all the dragonification fruits he had plucked and passed them to Qing Su along with the blood of the Kuan Peng. All right, it's all up to you now. Tsing Hui nodded seriously and said, "Then, I will consume the dragonification fruit to raise my life essence. Please do not move around casually during this period." "Don't worry," Master Tsongjin said. Tsing Hui did not waste any more time and directly took out a dragonification fruit and swallowed it. The dragonification fruit looked ordinary, but the mysteries it contained were many times better than the limitless Tao fruit. It completely brought out the hidden characteristics of a divine item to the extreme. When Tsing Hui swallowed the dragonification fruit, the energy inside directly penetrated into every corner of his body. He did not even need to refine it, but he could clearly feel that the vitality of his cells and acupoints had begun to increase greatly. He even faintly felt that this increase was not just a simple increase in the vitality of his cells, but also a change in his life imprint. While this change extended his lifespan, it also greatly increased his body's plasticity. In a day, after completely digesting the energy of the dragonification fruit, he immediately consumed the second one, and then the third. When he had completely digested the energy of the third dragonification fruit, he could clearly feel that his life imprint seemed to have completed a miraculous sublimation. This sublimation was reflected on his physical body through the life imprint, causing the toughness and strength of his physical body to increase from the inside out. Although he did not know what the next step of the cultivation of the 9 transformations of the true dragon would be, he could clearly feel that the strength of his physical body had unknowingly broken through to the level of the true dragon realm. Unfortunately, in this world, the divine beast bloodline cultivation system was rampant. The strength of the true dragon realm's physical body could not be compared to that of a divine being. Even an almighty could easily kill him. Moreover, the divine beast bloodline cultivation system had reached the 4th level of the divine realm, the divine true body. Once the divine true body was cultivated, the divine beast, and physical body would merge into one, and one would be able to take the form of a divine beast or divine beast. Compared to slowly tempering one's physical body, how much faster would it be? This was also the reason why this world did not pay much attention to tempering one's physical body. On the 4th day, Tsing Hui stopped cultivating. On the one hand, the consumption of 10 Tao auras every day made his heart ache. On the other hand, no one knew what kind of danger was contained in the spatial maze, so he could not continue to let Venerable Yuan Ri, Venerable Tsongjin, and the others accompany him in the spatial maze. After feeling that it was about time, he naturally had to carry out the next step of his plan. Venerable Yuan Ri, Venerable Tsongjin, Venerable Yuan Ri, Yulan, Xian Huang. In a while, I will transform into the divine beast Kunpeng and pass through the spatial maze at the fastest speed. I'm afraid I won't be able to take care of you during this period, so for safety's sake, I'll put you in my personal space. Tsing Hui said. Venerable Yuan Ri and Venerable Tsongjin looked at each other and could not help but smile bitterly. I didn't expect us 2 old fellows would one day become a burden. Ha! You should be happy that we have a successor. All right, Tsing Hui, don't worry, come. On the other side, Yulan and Xian Huang also nodded. Let Venerable Purple Sky and Venerable Wu Fa know. When the time comes, I'll directly put them in my personal space. After all, even if I raise the level of the transformation technique, I probably won't be able to last long if I want to transform into the divine beast Kunpeng, which is at the 3rd level of the saint realm. I'll go, Venerable Tsongjin said, and entered the chaos temple. During this time, Sing Hui's gaze fell on the chaos level that he had raised to the 64th level. When he thought that it would not be long before these chaos levels all fell because of the problem of not being able to make ends meet, he felt a little distressed about the Tao auras. The loss of a whole 1,000 Tao auras. This Taoist rhyme came quickly and left even faster. Unfortunately, in the current situation, he had no choice but to use them. Chapter 690. Sing Hui focused his gaze, and his chaos level rose from level 64 to level 65. At level 65, he was not in a hurry to upgrade the transformation art. Instead, he looked at the characteristic pain, wanting to see what kind of new characteristic would be derived from level 65. If the characteristic was powerful enough, he might not need to waste 4 chaos levels on the transformation art. Chaos art. Sing Hui looked at the newly derived characteristic. It was named after chaos. At that moment, he focused his attention on this new characteristic. After a while, Sing Hui frowned. This characteristic designates a person to upgrade a certain characteristic by 1 level. The duration is related to the difference between the two's chaos level. The greater the difference, the longer the duration. The cooldown is the same as the transformation art and backtrack art. It's only 1 month. This characteristic did not seem to have any use. What would happen if someone was upgraded by 1 chaos level? Just as Sing Hui was about to turn his gaze to the transformation art, an idea suddenly flashed through his mind. Wait a minute. Can I use this ability on myself? If I use it on myself and upgrade the transformation art by 1 level, wouldn't I indirectly achieve the same goal? At the same time, I can also see if there are any other mysteries behind it. If he couldn't use it on himself, he might lose a primal chaos grade. But his primal chaos grade would drop anyway. At most, he would lose 100 Taoist rhymes worth of Taoist rhymes. With his current wealth, he could afford it. At that moment, he focused his gaze on the chaos art. After a while, a new characteristic appeared in his characteristic pane. Level 1. 1 month cooldown. I'll give it a try. If it works, I'll upgrade it to level 4. According to the shortening of the time interval between upgrading the backtrack art and transformation art. If I upgrade it to level 4, it'll only take 3 days. 3 days. I can afford to wait. With that thought, Sing Hui had already blessed himself with the chaos art. With the blessing of the chaos art, his transformation art did not have any hindrance and directly climbed to level 2. It works. Sing Hui's eyes lit up. However, after a while, he sensed the duration of the chaos art on himself and paused slightly. Only 10 breaths. It's not even as long as the divine art. 10 breaths. Time was too short. He didn't know if he could get out of the spatial maze in 10 breaths of time. Let's take a look. 2nd tier chaos spell. In the next moment, the chaos rank 65 continued to climb, directly jumping to the 66th rank. After the 66th step, Sing Hui once again added the primal chaos level to the primal chaos level, raising it to the 2nd level. However, after he figured out the effects of the tier 2 chaos spell, he realized that he had been too naive. As expected, the tier 2 chaos spell's cooldown had been reduced to half a month, and the number of people assigned to it had increased from 1 to 2. But that was all. It could not raise any of his attributes by 2 levels, and its duration did not increase at all. This primal chaos spell, Sing Hui sighed. There was indeed a price to pay for his reckless attempts. The tier 2 chaos spell could only increase the number of targets from 1 to 2. It could not increase the transformation spell by 2 tiers. Sing Hui had no choice but to focus on the transformation spell again. The level of primal chaos rose again. 67th step, 68th step, 69th step. The transformation spell also rose to the 4th level as the level of primal chaos increased. 500 Taoist rhymes were squandered. Looking at the primal chaos spell that he had just used for his experiment and still needed half a month to cool down, and then looking at the transformation spell that had just been raised to the 4th level, Sing Hui had no choice but to raise the level of primal chaos by 1. Half a month. After the primal chaos level was raised to the 60th rank, It required 10 Taoist rhymes worth of items to carry Taoist rhymes every day. In half a month, it would be a total of 150 Taoist rhymes worth of items to carry Taoist rhymes. Therefore, he might as well spend one primal chaos level to raise the transformation spell, so as to avoid wasting 150 Taoist rhymes. With the disappearance of 100 Taoist rhymes worth of items, Xing Hui's primal chaos level rose to the unprecedented level of 70. Compared to not long ago, it was a full 11 levels increase. This meant that he would lose 1,100 Taoist rhymes. Moreover, the drop in the primal chaos level did not mean that the remaining items could last for 9 days. If he did not invest 10 Taoist rhymes in the primal chaos level in the following day, it would drop another level. In other words, it would only take 11 days for Xing Hui's primal chaos level to drop from 70 to 59. Therefore, the level 70 primal chaos level in front of him was completely a pavilion in the sky, just for show. Level 70. Xing Hui looked at the characteristic derived from the level 70 primal chaos level. As the primal chaos level increased, the characteristic derived from it would become more tyrannical and unreasonable. Therefore, even though the level 70 primal chaos level was just a pavilion in the sky to him, there was no harm in him understanding it in advance. Stagnation spell? Another characteristic that was born to target the sons of primal chaos. It can be used on any characteristic of its own, so that the next time it is used, it will not enter a cooldown period. The cooldown period is still 1 month. Xing Hui stared at this characteristic for a moment, carefully weighing its usability. While the stagnation spell was in effect, he did not have to worry about cooldown periods when using teleportation. After using it once, he could use it again immediately. If he maintained a sufficient frequency, he could even reduce the cooldown period between teleportation, which had a cooldown period of 1 year, and resurrection, which had a cooldown period of 100 years, to 1 month. Moreover, this was the characteristic of a level 1 stagnation spell. If its cooldown period was the same as Backtrack, Transfiguration, and Primal Chaos spell, did that not mean that when he upgraded the stagnation spell to level 5, all his Primal Chaos characteristics would have their cooldowns reduced to only 1 day? It shouldn't be that simple. Stagnation spell has a cooldown period of 1 month, but it doesn't mean that it will be the same as Backtrack, Transfiguration, and Primal Chaos spell, where the cooldown period decreases as the level increases. Xing Hui's gaze lingered on the Primal Chaos level for a moment, forcibly suppressing the urge to investigate. He had already upgraded the Primal Chaos level to level 70. Although he still had some Taoist rhymes on him, he couldn't afford to waste time. Thinking of this, his gaze focused on the Transfiguration spell. In an instant, the Transfiguration spell, which was originally at level 4, was upgraded to level 5. The Transfiguration spell at level 5 suddenly changed. Xing Hui carefully sensed it and understood the change in the Transfiguration spell in his heart. Compatible with Primal Chaos characteristics, this change shocked Xing Hui. The previous Transfiguration spell was actually not compatible with Primal Chaos characteristics. In other words, if he did not upgrade the Transfiguration spell to level 5, he was afraid that he would not be able to open his personal space at all. At that time, if he wanted to take Venerable Master Zhang and the others into his personal space, he was afraid that there would be a lot of trouble. Fortunately, the level 5 mutation perfectly solved this problem for him. After a while, Xing Hui collected his thoughts. At this time, Venerable Master Yuanri, Venerable Master Zhang, Xian Huang, Yulan, and the others had already taken care of the matters at hand and were waiting for his next move. Xing Hui, how is it? Seeing that Xing Hui seemed to have collected his thoughts, Venerable Master Zhang asked cautiously. I need to wait for 2 more days. Xing Hui said. His Transfiguration spell's mutation did not shorten the cooldown, but increased the toughness. Therefore, the cooldown time was nearly 2 days long. It's only 2 days. There's no hurry. Venerable Master Zhang said, I've already talked to Venerable Wu Fa and Venerable Purple Sky. When the time comes, you can directly take us into your personal space. Okay. Sing Hui nodded and continued to refine the power of the dragonization fruit that had not been completely digested as much as possible. 2 days passed quickly. As soon as time passed, Sing Hui immediately opened his personal space and took Venerable Master Tsang, Venerable Master Yuanri, and the others into it. After they entered his personal space, Sing Hui followed the previous steps. He first used the backtrack spell to pave the way, and then immediately activated the transfiguration spell. Due to his previous experience of transforming into the divine beast Kuan Peng, Sing Hui's transfiguration spell and life essence had greatly improved compared to the last time, even though he had transformed into a divine beast Kuan Peng at the 3rd layer of the divine realm. After transforming into a 200-meter-tall behemoth, he actually felt that the burden on his body was much less than the last time. Although his physical body was still unable to bear the heavy impact, Sing Hui estimated that it should not be difficult for him to hold on for 10 breaths of time. Crushing the divine beast Kuan Peng at the vacuum realm and tearing apart the primal chaos realm is a piece of cake. Sing Hui's gaze quickly swept the surroundings. The innate talent of a divine beast made his gaze as sharp as an arrow. Under his gaze, the layered spatial maze was like a world separated by a thin layer of gauze, instantly penetrating it. Before long, he had already seen through many of the mysteries of this underground palace that was less than 30 kilometers in size. This won't do. It's too slow. I only have 10 breaths of time. Sing Hui was somewhat anxious. In the next moment, he seemed to have thought of something. Wait a moment. Since the transfiguration spell is compatible with the characteristics of the primal chaos, then I'll use the divine art on top of transforming into the divine beast Kuan Peng. When he thought of this, Sing Hui's eyes lit up. He immediately used the divine art, and a pure primal chaos energy emerged from within his body, stabilizing his unsteady body. I thought that I would be able to raise the divine beast Kuan Peng's level from the 3rd layer of the divine realm to the 5th layer of the divine realm. I didn't expect that it would only raise the level of my attributes, increasing the time I can last from 10 breaths of time to half an incense stick's worth of time. It's a pity that the divine beast Kuan Peng's transformation can last for half an incense stick's worth of time, but the divine art can't last that long. I still have to hurry and seize every second. Sing Hui focused his mind and quickly looked around. The divine beast Kuan Peng's innate talent made him extremely sensitive to spatial fluctuations. Before long, he had already sensed some of the rules of the spatial maze. Rip! Sing Hui's huge and majestic figure moved slightly. The spatial maze that made his true body, Venerable Master Yuanri, Venerable Master Zhongzhen, Xian Huang, Yulan, and the others feel helpless, was directly torn apart by him relying on the divine beast Kuan Peng's innate talent. In front of the torn space, Venerable Master Wufa and Venerable Master Purple Sky had already learned from Venerable Master Yuanri's conversation that Sing Hui could transform into the divine beast Kuan Peng, but when they saw the colossus that suddenly appeared in front of them, they still couldn't help but widen their eyes in shock. With a wave of his hand, Sing Hui quickly brought Venerable Master Wufa and Venerable Master Purple Sky into his personal space. Then, his figure moved like lightning, quickly shuttling through the spatial maze. 10 breaths of time, 20 breaths of time, 30 breaths of time. In less than 100 breaths of time, Sing Hui's eyes lit up. He had already seen through the spatial maze. Or rather, he had already figured out what kind of supreme treasure this spatial maze was protecting. Whoosh! In the next moment, his body, which was so huge that it far exceeded the capacity of the underground palace, seemed to have transformed into a gust of wind, rolling up layers of spatial ripples. In an instant, he crossed over 10 kilometers and appeared in the most central area of the spatial maze. In the most central position, a rhombus-shaped grayish-black gem, which seemed to contain the profound truths of the birth and death of the universe, was vividly displayed before his eyes. Chapter 691. This Treasure. Sing Hui stared at the grayish-black diamond-shaped gemstone in front of him, and his pupils shrank. He did not know if it was because he was in the form of the mythical beast Kuan Peng or some other reason. But around the grayish-black diamond-shaped gemstone, he could clearly see circles of special ripples and trajectories that were constantly spreading in all directions. Following these special ripples and trajectories, he felt as if he was witnessing the most mysterious space law in the world. Originally, it was just a blur, or it could be said that he had to follow his instincts to come into contact with the law of space. But at this moment, it became extremely clear. This feeling was like a human who had always relied on his instincts to breathe the air and clearly understood the composition of the air for the first time. After understanding this point, under certain special circumstances, he could even create his own air. This is definitely a true treasure. Sing Hui's tone was extremely certain. Time was of the essence, and he did not dare to continue admiring it. His personal space swirled, and he was about to put this 1-meter-tall, grayish-black gemstone that was floating on the altar in the center of the space, maze into his personal space. But the result? He failed. This grayish-black gemstone emitted a space ripple that seemed to have solidified and caused the law of space to appear directly from nothingness. This caused the space around it to have an extremely shocking, repulsive effect on his personal space. It was impossible to put it into his personal space. I can't put into my personal space. It is said that the ability of a level 10 personal space to store items is not inferior to the world created by a boundary breaker. Sing Hui was a little surprised. This was the first time his personal space could not store an inanimate object. However, very quickly, he thought about how a boundary breaker could only rely on setting up a space maze to protect this object and could not store it into his own world. He more or less understood something. He immediately reached out his hand and grabbed the grayish-black gemstone. Then, he used his strength to lift it up. Buzz, buzz. When he grabbed the grayish-black gemstone, the space maze suddenly shook. Then, a circle of shock waves that could be seen by the naked eye rapidly spread in all directions. This shock wave contained a strong power of space. In many cases, it could even ignore the obstruction of soil and rocks. In an instant, it rushed out at least a few hundred kilometers. In front of this shock wave, many palaces and buildings that were hundreds of kilometers away collapsed like fragile sand sculptures. This ancient cave residence is actually constructed with this grayish-black diamond-shaped gem as the center. In other words, this underground space was actually created with this grayish-black diamond-shaped gem as the energy source. Now that I've taken it away, this underground space will lose its support and collapse immediately. Qing Su glanced around as the divine beast Kuan Peng, and he understood the reason why the entire dwelling had collapsed for no reason, as if he had done it instinctively. It was just like how people from other worlds had to learn about astronomy if they wanted to understand what the 8 planets were. However, for humans on Earth, they could tell the names, characteristics, and locations of the 8 planets with their eyes closed. There should be some other valuable materials in the cave. What a pity, looking at the rapidly collapsing ancient cave dwelling. Sing Hui felt a little regretful. Immediately, his gaze swept across the surroundings. The world in front of him was no longer rustling rocks and soil, but a series of spatial ripples that operated according to a strange law. Rip! After locking onto one of the spatial trajectories, Sing Hui's Kuan Peng body slashed with force, and the space in front of him collapsed. It was just like Sing Hui's divine technique form when he slashed out with the Sword of the Sun. However, compared to the effect of the Sword of the Sun, the effect of the Kuan Peng body tearing through space was undoubtedly much more astonishing. With the flapping of his wings, Sing Hui directly entered the spatial mezzanine and left the divine wilderness world. As soon as he entered the spatial mezzanine, he could clearly feel that the spatial fluctuations around him were many times more complicated. Even with his Kuan Peng talent, he could not distinguish it because he had not systematically learned it. Fortunately, he was now outside the divine wilderness world, like a spaceship that had just flown out of the atmosphere of a star. It was naturally easy to return, and there was no need to worry about losing his way. After glancing back a few times, Tsing Hui quickly locked onto the position of the fissure volcano. However, just as he was about to continue tearing through space to return to the divine wilderness world, a figure suddenly swept past him not far away. Relying on the amazing talent of the Kuan Peng, Tsing Hui immediately determined the identity of this figure. The Li Hen Holy Man? Tsing Hui was stunned. This figure was the Li Hen Holy Man of the Way of the Heavens. The Li Hen Holy Man, the Wu Lu Holy Man, and the others worked together to kill the Zhuzhao Master. In the end, they were rescued by the Firmament Master, by Hung Sword Master, Lan Rue Sword Saint, and the others, and forced to use a teleportation technique to fall into the spatial mezzanine. It had been several years, and after all his struggles, he was now at the edge of the divine wilderness world. He only needed to find a weak point in the space of the divine wilderness world to activate the power of the heavenly stone to shatter the void and return to the divine wilderness world. Unfortunately, he only needed to wait for 10 days to half a month to return to the divine wilderness world, but he just had to meet Tsing Hui. And it was Tsing Hui who had transformed into the Kuan Peng. Kuan Peng, the Kuan Peng. At the same time that Tsing Hui saw the Li Hen Holy Man, the Li Hen Holy Man also suddenly saw the huge figure that appeared not far away in front of him, wandering in the spatial mezzanine. The Kuan Peng was more than 200 meters long, and when it spread its wings, it was more than 500 meters long. The Li Hen Holy Man, who had been struggling in the spatial mezzanine for many years, was already at the end of his life. At this moment, he opened his eyes wide, and an uncontrollable sense of despair surged in his heart. "Don't bother with me, don't bother with me." The Li Hen Holy Man kept on praying. At this moment, he only hoped that the Kuan Peng was not a cruel creature, otherwise. Whoosh! Tsing Hui's figure turned, and the huge body of the Kuan Peng immediately turned and pounced towards the Li Hen Holy Man. Just the movement of the Kuan Peng had already caused the Li Hen Holy Man's figure to sway. No! And the Li Hen Holy Man, who originally wanted to hold his breath and hoped that the Kuan Peng would not harm him, let out a shrill scream when he saw the Kuan Peng pouncing towards him. He quickly retreated and rushed towards the divine wilderness world as fast as he could. At the same time, the power of the heavenly stone was activated in his hands. He did not care about the danger and wanted to tear apart void space and escape to the divine wilderness. Unfortunately, it was useless. The divine beasts were the most unique beings in the world. If a human divine being wanted to kill even the weakest adult divine beast, they would have to think of ways to leave the divine beast alone and set up a foolproof trap. Only then would they have some hope. But even so, most of the time the divine being teams that went to hunt the divine beast would end up completely wiped out. A divine beast Kuan Peng that had just reached adulthood was equivalent to the first layer of the Saint Realm. In terms of battle prowess, it surpassed regular supreme experts, enough to rival peak existences like the Reverend Zhu Zhao, let alone the fact that Qing Ruins had conjured a divine beast equivalent to the third layer of the Saint Realm. As the Kuan Peng that Tsing Hui had transformed into tore down, the distance between the two of them was instantly closed. The power of the Li Hen Holy Man's territory was like an inflated balloon in front of him and was about to burst. Then, without any suspense, the Li Hen Holy Man was caught in the hands of Lin Feng as he screamed, "No, no, I can't accept this." The Li Hen Holy Man, who was caught in the hands of the Li Hen Holy Man, roared furiously. The origin of the Li Hen Holy Man's domain burned furiously, and circles of power of the Li Hen Holy Man's domain surged outwards with him as the center. He tried to break free from Tsing Hui's sharp claws. Final struggle. Tsing Hui's expression did not change. He grabbed the Li Hen Holy Man with his sharp claws and exerted force. Boom, boom, boom. The vast power of the Kuan Peng clashed violently with the origin of the Li Hen Holy Man's domain, which was burning in his final struggle. However, this boom did not last for more than half a breath before it ended with the complete collapse of the Lihen holy man's domain. Crack, accompanied by the sound of bones breaking. The Lihen holy man's entire body was almost flattened by Tsing Hui. If not for the fact that he was in the divine stage and had a strong regenerative spell, the Lihen holy man would have died a long time ago. Ah! The Lihen holy man screamed in despair. However, when he realized that he was not crushed by the Kuan Peng, a strong desire to live appeared in his eyes. If the Kuan Peng wanted to kill me, I would have been crushed to death. If he kept me alive, would I still be useful? As he thought of this, the Lihen holy man could not care less about the pain of almost all his bones being crushed. He shouted hurriedly, "Great Kuan Peng, lowly human cultivator Lihen, I am willing to submit to you. I am willing to become your most loyal servant. For this, I am even willing to offer my soul." Oh, in Tsing Hui's mind, a few contracts that could only be signed between divine beasts and humans appeared. Among these contracts, there were contracts that were similar to the one he signed with the holy beast Xuanwu. There were also contracts where divine beasts took in humans as their servants. However, he did not know if these contracts would still be effective after he turned into his human form. After a while, Tsing Hui seemed to have thought of something. Who cares if it will be effective when the time comes? I shall sign it first. If I can really control the Lihen holy man and let him destroy the 15th order formation from the inside, I may be able to eliminate the threat of the heavenly way once and for all. As he thought of this, Tsing Hui waved his hand, and a drop of blood appeared on his body. After the blood appeared, it formed a contract. Split your soul and inject it into the contract. Become my servant. Yes. The Lihen holy man heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that he might be able to keep his life. At the moment when the contract was signed, there was even a slight excitement and joy in the depths of his heart. Divine beasts were different from human beings. Although the divine beast Kuan Peng was as intelligent as human beings, IQ and EQ were two different things. When it came to scheming and scheming, 10 divine beasts of the divine realm couldn't compare with a human. Although it seemed that he had signed a slave contract with this divine beast Kuan Peng, if he made good use of it, he might even bring himself a powerful divine beast of the vacuum-shattering level to the way of heaven. Chapter 692. I can sense the aura of the Son of Chaos on you. Hand over your chaos mantra. Tsing Hui said again. However, he was using telepathy and added in some of the brutality that belonged to the Kuan Peng. Chaos mantra? Great divine beast, the chaos mantra is of no use to you. Before the Lihen holy man finished speaking, the Kuan Peng that Tsing Hui transformed and crushed the lower half of the Lihen holy man's body into a bloody mist. Slave, you only need to follow the will of your master. If you dare to speak any more nonsense, I will eat you up. Ah, yes, yes, yes. The Lihen holy man screamed in pain, and his face turned pale. However, he did not dare to disobey, and quickly handed over his chaos mantra. Since a divine beast could not become the son of chaos, it was not hard to accept handing over the chaos mantra to a divine beast. Very good. After Tsing Hui obtained the chaos mantra from the Lihen holy man, he clenched his fist again, and the strength was evenly distributed to every corner of the Lihen holy man's body. This kind of pain broke the limit of the Lihen holy man's tolerance for pain, and he fainted on the spot. Since I have transformed into the Kuan Peng, then let's solve all the problems together. Tsing Hui carried the Lihen holy man and turned his gaze towards the huge divine wilderness world. As his gaze swept across, the spatial barriers around the divine wilderness world were seen through by him. Not long after, a small mushroom-like world that was attached to the divine wilderness world appeared in his vision. The chaos dimension of the chaos holy man. The Kuan Peng that Qing Su had transformed into flapped its wings and flew towards the chaos origin world that the chaos holy man had summoned. When it approached the chaos origin world, it suddenly shot through the void and ripped open the spatial barrier between the divine wilderness world and the divine wilderness world, directly entering the divine wilderness world. As the battle on Karma Peak had yet to come to an end, many forces had sent their chess pieces to pay attention to the changes in Karma Peak's chaos primordial realm. As a result, when the void was torn apart and a divine beast Kuan Peng with a wingspan of more than 500 meters flew out from this region, everyone was dumbfounded. Kuan Peng. Kuan Peng. The divine beast Kuan Peng. Heavens, such a huge Kuan Peng divine beast. This is a divine beast at the second or even third level of the saint realm. Our divine wilderness actually has such a powerful divine beast. Why would the divine beast Kuan Peng appear in Tianwang? Those terrifying monsters living overseas want to invade Heaven Wasteland and dominate the divine wasteland? Many of the cultivators who had been left behind by the various forces could not help but exclaim at the same time when they saw the huge and imposing figure in the void. However, Tsinghui did not have the time to pay attention to these observers who were at most in the Golden Core realm. The time for the divine art was about to end. He had to take advantage of this time to tear the chaotic primordial realm apart. Otherwise, with his current consumption rate of 10 Taoist charms per day, he would squander dozens of Taoist charms for nothing. Although he had extorted 1,500 Taoist charms from the Black Flame sect, it would not take long for him to go bankrupt. Primal Chaos Realm. Tsinghui, who had traveled through the void and arrived at the Karma Peak, looked at the Primal Chaos Realm. The Primal Chaos Realm that he could not do anything to in his human form and could not be torn apart even with the help of the heavenly Grotto Heaven Stone, had no secrets at this moment. The entire Primal Chaos Realm was derived from a level 17 unique treasure that Chaos Holy Man had obtained by chance in his own Primal Chaos Realm. The unique treasure had completely merged with his Primal Chaos Realm, giving his Primal Chaos Realm an incredible ability to trap targets. Of course, while the Primal Chaos Realm possessed great power, it also lost some of the advantages of an ordinary Primal Chaos Realm, such as flexibility, the ability to withdraw and release, and the ability to recover. The Primal Chaos Holy Man's Primal Chaos Realm could withdraw and release their Primal Chaos Realm as they wished. Even if the Primal Chaos Holy Man's Primal Chaos Realm was torn apart, more Primal Chaos Realm power could be used to repair it. However, once the Primal Chaos Realm of Chaos Holy Man was torn apart, it was like a divine weapon that had a hole in it. It was not something that could be repaired overnight. It was as if what Tsinghui wanted to do was to completely tear apart the Primal Chaos Realm of Chaos Holy Man. Open up. Tsinghui roared. The huge body of the divine beast Kuan Peng was like a rising meteor as it crashed into the Primal Chaos Realm. Relying on the talent of the divine beast Kuan Peng, it immediately used its sharp claws, which were infused with rich spatial power, to tear apart the energy nodes of the Primal Chaos Realm. Crack! Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Gray-black primal chi scattered in all directions. The Chaos Primordial Realm was like a fragile piece of paper that had a corner torn off. The torn Chaos Primordial Realm formed a spatial crack, and even if Chaos Holy Man wanted to mobilize the power of the Chaos Primordial Realm to spread in this direction and repair it, it was useless. All the power of the Primal Chaos Realm that spread over was completely swallowed by this space crack, without exception. When the Primal Chaos Primordial Realm was torn apart, Reverend Candlelight, Reverend Firmament, Swordmaster Baiheng, Swordmaster Rainbow, Swordmaster Shadow, and the others who were trapped in the Primal Chaos Primordial Realm were all pleasantly surprised. However, when they saw the huge creature with a wingspan of more than 500 meters outside the Primal Chaos Realm, their expressions changed drastically. Fortunately, before they could retreat, Qing Su's voice had already rang out. Exalted Zhu Zhao, Exalted Sky, Swordmaster Baiheng, Swordmaster Changhong, Swordmaster Yuing, I am Qing Su. This divine beast, Kuan Peng, is a manifestation of my special technique. There's no need to panic. Leave right now, and I'll directly destroy the chaotic origin world of the Celestial Lord of Chaos. Tsinghui, Master Zhu Zhao, Master Firmament, and the others were shocked. A acoustic-level divine beast was a particularly terrifying existence for anyone. However, seeing that the divine beast Kuan Peng did not seem to have any intention of attacking them, several divine beasts, led by Master Zhu Zhao, boldly flew toward the space crack that Xing Hui had torn open. At the same time, the primal chaos realm, which covered the causality peak with a diameter of more than 100 kilometers, began to surge violently and rapidly shrink toward the center. At this rate, the entire primal chaos realm would disappear completely in less than 10 breaths. Chaos Holy Man is taking back the primal chaos realm. Master Zhu Zhao looked around in surprise. As the primal chaos realm shrank, they, who were originally enveloped in the primal chaos realm, were naturally thrown out. Hey, if the acoustic-level divine beast outside is really Xing Hui of Firmament, unless Chaos Holy Man wants the primal chaos realm to be completely torn apart, he can only take back the primal chaos realm and escape quickly. Master Firmament's eyes were filled with sarcasm. You want to take back the primal chaos realm just like that? Did you ask for my permission? Xing Hui, who was destroying the primal chaos realm, sneered. The divine beast Kuan Peng's huge figure suddenly spread its wings. A circle of space energy was madly attracted by its wings and poured into its body. Then, its wings shot out like whistling flying swords, turning into thousands of sword shadows and shooting toward the shrinking primal chaos realm like a storm. Heavenly Peng Sword Wings. This was an attack that Xing Hui imitated the talent of great Elder Qin Lian of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. The feathers, which were infused with space energy, seemed to have turned into the sharpest divine weapons in the world. They madly shot into the shrinking primal chaos realm and instantly pierced thousands of holes in it. Xing Hui's divine beast Kuan Peng body suddenly rushed forward, grabbed the shrinking primal chaos realm, and tore it apart again. A space crack of several kilometers in diameter rapidly formed, looking ferocious and terrifying in the primal chaos realm. Seeing that Xing Hui was relentless, Chaos Holy Man made a prompt decision. The entire primal chaos realm was divided into two. One part of the primal chaos realm was like a large net that rapidly enveloped Xing Hui, while the other part of the primal chaos realm was shrinking at an even faster speed. In less than 2 breaths, it would be completely taken back by Chaos Holy Man. We can't let Chaos Holy Man escape like this. Esteemed Zhu Zhao, who had finally reacted, let out a long roar and released his domain. Behind him, a mysterious and profound torch dragon phantom appeared in the air and rushed toward Chaos Holy Man's primal chaos realm. The giant torch dragon phantom had shrunk to only 1 kilometer in diameter, but it suddenly expanded and revealed a gigantic body that was several kilometers long. It then grabbed at the primal chaos realm where Chaos Holy Man was, as if it was grabbing a round ball. A steady stream of energy frantically bombarded the primal chaos realm in his hand, bursting out with terrifying energy waves. When the explosive force persisted to a certain extent, esteemed Zhu Zhao suddenly roared, and the torch dragon phantom tore the other half of the primal chaos realm that Chaos Holy Man had created, exploding into circles of grayish-black primal chaos chi that spread in all directions. Zhu Zhao! A deep roar came from the void, and the figure of the Chaos Holy Man suddenly appeared in the spreading grayish-black chaotic chi. The long spear in his hand was like a shooting star that pierced through the sky. It instantly crossed the space between esteemed Zhu Zhao and the shadow of the torch dragon and stabbed toward esteemed Zhu Zhao. However, before his sword could strike Master Zhu Zhao, a blazing swordlight that carried a blazing sun that could burn the void collided with the meteor that pierced through the sky. It was Swordmaster Bai Hong. In the burst of fire, Chaos Holy Man's figure retreated rapidly, trying to escape from the battlefield. However, what awaited him was a terrifying giant claw from esteemed Zhu Zhao's domain. This terrifying giant claw carried the power to shatter the heavens and grabbed Chaos Holy Man who was retreating. Then its power exploded. Boom! The primal chaos, holy man's primal chaos, chi dissipated, and his figure was crushed by the torch dragon that esteemed Zhu Zhao had manifested, exploding in the air. It's his incarnation. Esteemed Zhu Zhao's face changed slightly when he saw Chaos Holy Man's body explode. At this moment, Chaos Holy Man finally kept all the primal chaos realm that he had participated in and revealed his true form. After his true form appeared, he looked gloomily at the mythical beast Kuan Peng that was charging toward him, and then, without hesitation, he activated the teleportation spell and disappeared. If you don't ask for recommendations, your recommendation votes won't move at all. What tragedy. Please log into your account and vote for this book. Chingfen, thanks everyone. Chapter 693. He escaped so quickly. Seeing Chaos Holy Master disappear without a trace, Master Zhu Zhao could not help but snort coldly. After breaking through to the insightful Void Realm, he should have shown his strength and tried his best to suppress the power of the Way of Heaven. However, he did not expect Firmament Holy Master, Sword Master by Hong, and the others to be trapped in the chaotic dimension by Anis Rava, Holy Master's trap. It took time for the primordial chaos realm to unfold and close. Given esteemed Zhu Zhao's ability, it was impossible for the primordial chaos realm to trap him. However, he had to enter the primordial chaos realm to protect the Firmament Master, Sword Master by Hung, Sword Master Long Rainbow, and the others from being trapped in the primordial chaos realm and killed by the primordial chaos holy man. It was just like the last time the primordial chaos realm was torn apart. He had the chance to escape, but he had to continue staying in the primordial chaos realm for the sake of the Firmament Master and the others. Putting aside the Firmament Master and other factors, the Zhu Zhao Exalted Master could suppress the entire heavenly Tao by himself. Even if the Chaos Holy Man came, the Zhu Zhao Exalted Master would not be an exception. He just had to be careful not to fall into the Chaos Holy Man's chaos realm. Whoosh! In the void, the colossal divine beast Kuan Peng trembled slightly. The next moment, it shrank rapidly under the horrified gaze of the crowd. Soon, it had shrunk from a creature of hundreds of meters to a human form. And this human form was Tsing Hui. This Firmament Holy Master looked at Tsing Hui, who was transformed from Kuan Peng, and his eyes widened. What's going on? Tsing Hui, why did you transform into Kuan Peng? It's the art of transformation. Qing Su's mood improved when he saw the Sky Venerable Master Zhu Zhao, and so on break free. When the chaotic plane reaches the 50th level, it can give birth to a brand new characteristic, the transformation technique. I used this characteristic to transform into the divine beast Kuan Peng, which allowed me to rip open the chaotic plane. Art of transformation, primal chaos, level 50? The Firmament Master was secretly shocked. Venerable Master Zhu Zhao nodded, as if he had guessed the answer. I guess it could be a transformation technique derived from the 50th stage of the Son of Chaos. However, the transformation technique in my memory doesn't have such astonishing power. Back then, when Emperor Tai used the transformation technique to transform into a first stage Saint Stage Golden Crow, it only lasted for about 10 breaths, let alone a vacuum-level divine beast. If he continues, his body will be in danger of collapsing. Did Emperor Tai use the transformation technique? Tsing Hui turned his eyes to esteemed Zhu Zhao. Under certain special circumstances, we also need to raise the level of chaos above the 44th level and obtain the power of chaos to turn the situation around. Therefore, we know a lot about the characteristics derived from the 50th level. It said that the Chaos Holy Man of the Heavenly Axiom once raised the level of chaos to the 55th level and saw the characteristics of the 55th level of chaos. It's just that we don't know if it's true or not. After all, this experience could be a whole 1,100 Tao rhymes. Venerable Master Zhu Zhao said, 1,000 Taoist rhymes was equivalent to the entire wealth of an ordinary divine being. Even Chaotic Holy Man, who was one of the top experts, did not necessarily have much more wealth than other divine beings. The only difference was that their magic weapons were very valuable. But in fact, many chaos organizations would not sell magic weapons above the 13th and 14th level. It was precisely because no one sold them that the prices of these magic weapons were extremely high. If all the divine in the divine wilderness sold all their magic weapons below the 16th level at once, the prices of these magic weapons would definitely fall to an unprecedented freezing point. After all, for divine, a 13th level magic weapon would not increase their power at all, and a 14th level magic weapon would not increase their power significantly either. In other words, the price of these magic weapons was not as high as it should be. It was just that the prices of these magic weapons were inflated by the hype. Venerable Master Zhu Zhao, Venerable Master Firmament, Sword Master Bai Hung, Sword Master Long Rainbow, and Sword Master Yuing have successfully escaped. Our four-sect alliance has finally overcome this great crisis, Sing Hui said with a smile. After a moment, he seemed to think of something. With a wave of his hand, Zongjin Master, Yuanri Master, and Taoist Master Purple Xiao, who had been put into his personal space, were all released. When Zongjin Master and the others appeared outside his personal space, they immediately saw Venerable Master Zhu Zhao and the others in front of them. They were immediately surprised and said, Master Zhu Zhao, Venerable Master Bai Hung, Sword Master Long Rainbow, and Sword Master Yuing have escaped? Thanks to Tsing Hui's transformation into the divine beast Kuanpeng, which tore the chaotic realm apart, we were able to escape. Venerable Master Zhu Zhao nodded with a smile. Venerable Master Firmament was in a good mood. Tsing Hui's transformation into the divine beast Kuanpeng tore the chaotic realm of Chaos Holy Man and caused serious damage to it, almost destroying it completely. I'm afraid it will take the chaotic realm 8 to 10 years to recover from this kind of damage. In addition, the incarnation that Chaos Holy Man cultivated with the 10th level incarnation technique was destroyed by Zhu Zhao. It will be difficult for him to condense it again in a short time. Therefore, the Way of Heaven will probably stay in hiding for the next 1 or 2 years. The chaotic realm has been severely damaged. That's great. The most terrifying thing about Chaos Holy Man is his chaotic realm. Without the chaotic realm, the offensive power of his divine beast chaos bloodline is not that outstanding. Even if an ordinary divine being faces him, he can easily escape unscathed, if not defeat him. Therefore, before the chaotic realm of Chaos Holy Man recovers, he is at most equivalent to a slightly more powerful divine being of the domain realm. Venerable Master Yuanri and Zongjin Master were pleasantly surprised by this result. Chaos Holy Man was crippled. Heavenly Lord Wuqing, Heavenly Lord Shuada, and Zhurong Holy Man were all killed by Tsing Hui alone. The Way of Heaven has been greatly damaged in this battle. We, Venerable Master Firmament, will be able to rest easy for a period of time. Venerable Master Purple Xiao also said with a smile. Heavenly Lord Wuqing, Heavenly Lord Shuada, and Zhurong Holy Man were all killed by Tsing Hui. Is this true? Heavenly Lord Wuqing is in existence second only to supreme experts. Tsing Hui, Venerable Master Firmament's face was full of shock, and he immediately looked at Tsing Hui. Haha, Venerable Master Firmament. Although you have not been trapped in the chaotic primordial realm for long, the things that have happened in our divine wilderness during this period of time are much more exciting than those in the past few decades. Come. Let's return to the Baihong Sword Sect first. We'll talk on the way. Zongjin Master Zongjin laughed loudly. The others also nodded. Sword Master Bai Hung and Sword Master Long Rainbow kept sizing up Tsing Hui curiously, especially Sword Master Bai Hung. Before she was trapped in the chaotic primordial realm, she had fought with Tsing Hui. At that time, although Tsing Hui's combat strength was not weak, in reality, he was still slightly inferior to her. It was only because she cooperated with Tsing Hui and used the wrong combat method that she lost to Tsing Hui by half a move. But now, in the blink of an eye, he was able to kill 3 divine sages consecutively. including Heavenly Lord Wuching, who was an existence second only to supreme experts. The situation had reversed. The group of people chatted and laughed as they quickly returned to the Baihong sword sect. At the same time, the impact of this battle was quickly spread in all directions through the spies hidden around the Karma Peak. From the appearance of the divine beast Koan Peng tearing apart the chaotic primordial realm, to the escape of Zhu Zhao, Venerable Master Baihong, and the rest, to Venerable Master Zhu Zhao's astonishing combat strength, every matter shook everyone's nerves. For a time, many top forces in the Divine Wilderness held a meeting at the same time and began to discuss how to deal with the great changes that the Heavenly Tao and the Four-Sect Alliance would bring to the Divine Wilderness. We're free. Venerable Master Zhu Zhao, Venerable Master Firmament, Sword Master Baihong, Sword Master Long Rainbow, Sword Master Yuing, congratulations on finally escaping. The Baihong Sword Sect had already received the news. Before they reached the Baihong Sword Sect, Sword Master Pingwang, Sword Master Caressing Sound, and the rest of the people from the Baihong Sword Sect had already rushed forward to welcome them. Their faces were filled with uncontrollable joy. Not only them, but Sword Master Xingyi and True God Suffering, who had stayed behind in the Baihong Sword Sect, were also overjoyed. Venerable Master Zhu Zhao and the rest of the 5 great sages had escaped. Without a doubt, they had completely unleashed their powerful combat strength. If not for the terrifying 15th rank array in the Heavenly Tao, with their current lineup, they would have swept over and destroyed the Heavenly Tao. It's all thanks to Tsinghui. This time, if not for Tsinghui using the transformation technique to transform into the divine beast Kuan Peng, we might not have been able to gather enough paradise divine stones to tear apart the chaotic primordial realm. Sword Master Long Rainbow said, "In fact, the danger we encountered in the chaotic primordial realm was not as serious as you imagined. With Venerable Master Zhu Zhao, the chaotic primordial realm might not be able to trap us to death." After learning about the worries of the people outside, Venerable Master Firmament felt a little guilty. Almost no one knew that Venerable Master Zhu Zhao had obtained the originator. In addition, Tsinghui did not understand the real mystery of the originator. This was why he was so anxious about this matter. It gave people the illusion that the Four-Sect Alliance would be doomed if they could not rescue Venerable Master Zhu Zhao and the rest in a few months. In fact, as long as the originator was still around, there was no possibility of Venerable Master Zhu Zhao and the rest being trapped to death by the Chaos Holy Man. Everyone chatted happily. This conversation lasted for several hours before gradually dispersing. After everyone left, Tsinghui called Venerable Master Tsangzhen, Venerable Master Yuanri, Venerable Master Firmament, Venerable Master Zhu Zhao, Venerable Master Purple Sky, Venerable Master Yulan, Venerable Master Wufa, and the rest to go to the mountain that the Baihong Sword Sect had specially arranged for him. As soon as they arrived at Tsing Hui's courtyard, Venerable Master Zhu Zhao asked before Tsinghui could speak, "Tsinghui, do you have a spatial item on you? I can clearly feel the spatial ripples emanating from that spatial item. Just the spatial ripples alone are so obvious. I'm afraid this item is extraordinary." Venerable Master Zhu Zhao's words made the others look at Tsinghui. To be exact, they were looking at the long treasure box that looked like a sword case that Tsinghui was carrying on his back. In fact, the moment they saw Tsinghui, they had already sensed the spatial ripples. However, because the item was on Tsinghui's body, they could not ask about it. Now that Venerable Master Zhu Zhao had spoken, it naturally aroused their curiosity. Venerable Master Tsangzhen even vaguely guessed something. He said excitedly and expectantly, "Tsinghui, is he in the spatial maze?" Tsinghui nodded. He reached out and took the sword case off his back. Then he opened it. Suddenly, the diamond-shaped, grayish-black gem that was constantly emitting spatial ripples to the outside world appeared in front of everyone. Chapter 694. Since Tsing Hui had chosen a treasure box that could seal off spatial fluctuations to store this grayish-black diamond-shaped gemstone, the spatial fluctuations emitted by the gemstone were not obvious. Now that Tsing Hui had opened the treasure box, the energy of the gemstone was no longer blocked, and the spatial ripples visible to the naked eye instantly became substantial. Even some of the space near the gemstone gradually became distorted. It seemed that with a slight movement, the gemstone would be embedded in the space and become one with the whole space. This item, esteemed being Jinzhao, esteemed being Tsangzhen, esteemed being Yuanri, and the others did not react, but esteemed being Firmament thought of something when he saw the strange phenomenon around the gemstone, and his eyes suddenly widened. Firmament, do you know this item? I saw some descriptions in an ancient book. If it's really this item, then it's really amazing. This is one of the high-grade treasures that most 5th-level Saint Realm and unhindered realm experts try to obtain. Oh, upon hearing esteemed being Firmament's words, esteemed being Tsang Zhen immediately asked, what exactly is this item? This is the world core. Esteemed being Tsang Zhen said, if unhindered realm experts are unwilling to upgrade their personal space to the 10th level and want to construct their own world, the most precious treasure is the world core. However, since most unhindered realm experts choose to upgrade their personal space to the 10th level and obtain the framework and rules of the world through their personal space, the value of the world core has dropped. It is no longer a top rare treasure of heaven and earth, but its value is still immeasurable, especially for cultivators at the 6th level of the Saint Realm, 2nd level of the Saint Realm, and 3rd level of the Saint Realm. The value of this item is indescribable with words. A piece of the world core is often enough to create a large sect that could be called a top sect in the ancient divine wilderness era. Oh, esteemed being Tsang Zhen, esteemed being Yuanri, Yulan, and Reverend Purple Sky's eyes lit up at the same time. On the other hand, esteemed being Jinzhao looked at the grayish-black diamond-shaped gemstone and seemed to have understood something. This item is used to help people comprehend the rules of heaven and earth? That's right, comprehending the laws of heaven and earth. To be more specific, it's comprehending the laws of space. The Heavenly Venerable Master nodded heavily. A piece of world core can't be considered a complete world after all. It may contain a trace of the laws of heaven and earth, but it's still far from the real laws of heaven and earth. However, it's enough to help people break through to the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. In addition, although the laws of heaven and earth contained in the world core aren't obvious, since it can be used as a reference scale for the structure of a world, its spatial laws are naturally incisive and vivid. I believe everyone can see this. Everyone nodded, including Tsing Hui. Currently, Tsing Hui hadn't transformed into the divine beast Kuan Peng, but when he looked at the world core, various comprehensions of the laws of space were born in his heart. Once he digested all these comprehensions, he was 90% sure that his understanding of space would definitely reach a new level. At that time, whether it was the speed of his sword, the trajectory of his sword, or even the sword light that could tear the void, they would all be greatly improved. Although I have a good comprehension of the laws of space, if I want to break through to the void-shattering realm, I estimate that I'll need to cultivate in seclusion for 10 to 20 years. If I get stuck at some bottleneck, it's not impossible for me to spend 30 to 40 years. However, when I look at this world core, it seems that a new chapter of the laws of space has been opened in front of me. I'm confident that if I hold this item carefully and cultivate in seclusion, I'll definitely be able to take that crucial step and break through to the void-shattering realm in 3 to 8 years. Venerable Zhu Zhao said confidently. To the side, Venerable Yuan nodded in agreement. Although I haven't stepped into the domain realm because I don't have the innate divine charm, I've studied a lot of the laws of space. If I have enough innate divine charm, I'm confident that I can reach the insightful emptiness realm within 3 years after breaking through to the domain realm. My situation is similar to Venerable Yuan Ri's. It seems that Venerable Firmament's words are true. If this item was in the ancient divine wilderness era, it would definitely be able to easily create a top sect. At the very least, it has practically paved a smooth path before the third level of the Saint Realm. Unfortunately, there's truly too little innate divine essence in our world, and it's utterly insufficient for us to break through to the Saint Realm. It's even to the extent that even if we break through to the Saint Realm and condense domain quintessence, it'll take an unknown amount of time to perfect the domain. Venerable Zhongzhen sighed. Qing Su glanced at the Venerable Master Zhongzhen, the Venerable Master Heaven, and the Venerable Master Yuanri. These people were all known as prodigies in the world of cultivation. Even the Venerable Master Zhu Zhao was the same. As a matter of fact, the Venerable Master Zhu Zhao was known as the greatest prodigy among the Venerable Master of Chaos, the Tai Emperor, and the Venerable Primordial Wilderness generation. Unfortunately, due to limited resources, he was unable to break through. For example, Venerable Zhu Zhao had reached the insightful emptiness realm in a year after obtaining the originator. Now, he only needed a few decades to break through to the virtual shattering realm without the world core. How fast was this speed? It should be known that Dongqian, who was regarded as a god by Tsing Hui, took 700 years to break through to the virtual shattering realm from the domain realm. From this point, one could see the huge difference between the two. In the ancient times, Venerable Zhongzhen, Venerable Firmament, Venerable Yuan Ri, and Venerable Zhu Zhao would definitely be people whose talents far exceeded Dongqian's. It would not be an extravagant hope for them to open up their own worlds and become supreme experts who could create worlds with a thought. Unfortunately, it was no wonder that there was a saying in the mortal world that a single penny could stump a hero. 6 dragonization fruits, a world core, some refining materials, and some 13th and 14th level divine weapons. It seems that the harvest from this trip to the ancient cavern mansion can be said to be bountiful. Venerable Yuan Ri said with a smile. That's right, especially the world core. This kind of treasure is the foundation treasure of an ancient great sect. Even if we can't break through to the second level of the divine realm due to the lack of innate divine charm, a deeper understanding of the law of space is always beneficial. Venerable Firmament nodded. In fact, the reason why we could have such a bountiful harvest in the ancient cavern mansion this time is all thanks to Tsing Hui. If it weren't for Tsing Hui, I'm afraid that all of us would have been trapped in that spatial maze and died. That's right. If it weren't for Tsing Hui, we wouldn't have been able to escape alive. After all, the spatial maze is a terrible area that will inevitably lead to mistakes in the teleportation technique. Once cultivators like us who haven't even reached the divine realm are teleported into the spatial mezzanine, only death awaits us. Several almighty experts who had participated in the exploration of the ancient cavern mansion deeply agreed. No need to be so polite. Since I'm a member of the Celestial Vault Mansion, I'll naturally support each other. Tsing Hui said. Venerable Purple Sky couldn't help sighing with emotion when he heard this. I'm afraid that the most correct thing I've done in my life is to lead Tsing Hui into our Celestial Vault Mansion. Venerable Purple Sky's words made Venerable Firmament, Venerable Zhongzhen, Venerable Zhu Zhao, and the others look at each other. In the end, they nodded solemnly at the same time, thinking of the crisis that the Celestial Vault Mansion had encountered this time. If it weren't for Tsing Hui, the Celestial Vault Mansion would have been in danger of being destroyed. Venerable Zhongzhen seemed to have thought of something at this time, and suddenly said, by the way, this time Tsing Hui didn't hesitate to raise his chaotic level to the 54th level in order to save us, wasting a total of 1,000 Taoist connotation items. In my opinion, the Celestial Vault Mansion should find a way to make up for this. That's not necessary. Tsing Hui shook his head. I was also trapped at that time. Saving you is saving ourselves. Even if you weren't there, I'm afraid I would have to raise my chaotic level to escape with my life. Moreover, I've taken 3 dragonization fruits in this operation, which is enough to make up for the loss of 1,000 Taoist connotation. The Celestial Vault Mansion was not in a good situation now. When they purchased the originator, they had already used up all their Taoist connotation reserves. Although the Celestial Vault Mansion, Venerable Tsang Venerable Yuanri, and the others might still be able to gather 1,000 Taoist connotations, this would undoubtedly cause the entire Celestial Vault Mansion to fall into the dangerous situation of having no Taoist connotation items to raise the chaotic level to the 30th level. This was something that the Celestial Vault Mansion was unwilling to see. Xing Hui will always remember your contribution to the Celestial Vault Mansion. Venerable Tsang. There's no need to say more. Don't forget, I'm also a member of the Celestial Vault Mansion. The Celestial Vault Mansion was startled. After a while, he nodded vigorously. Yes, I'm being unreasonable. However, I believe that all of us will remember this in our hearts and won't dare to forget it. Xing Hui did not say much on this topic. Everyone, go back and take a rest. When this matter is over, we'll discuss how to deal with the Heavenly Tao. The Celestial Vault Mansion said. He, the Heavenly Tao, the chaotic holy man, has been severely injured in the battle at the Karma Peak. I'm afraid that he won't be able to make any waves in a short period of time. Even if he's still in his prime, as long as Venerable Tsang is careful, it won't be difficult to deal with him. I estimate that the Heavenly Tao will focus on defense for the next 1 or 2 years. Venerable Tsang sneered. If the Heavenly Tao adopts a defensive posture, we really can't do anything to it. The Celestial Vault Mansion said. In any case, let's return to the Celestial Vault Mansion first. When the Divine Masters of the other forces arrive, we'll discuss how to deal with the Heavenly Tao. Yes, let's go back first. The Celestial Vault Mansion only has the sword wielder Lan Rue at the moment. We have to be careful of the Heavenly Tao's desperate actions. Venerable Tsangzhen nodded, and then his eyes fell on the grayish-black diamond-shaped gemstone in front of Xing Hui. The heart of the world contains powerful space energy, and it can't be kept in one's personal space. Take it to the Celestial Vault Mansion. When the time comes, anyone who wants to comprehend the space energy in it can go ahead. I'll leave it to the Venerable Tsangzhen. Xing Hui said. Seeing this, the Celestial Vault Mansion smiled and nodded. With this heart of the world, if they could solve the problem of resources, the Celestial Vault Mansion would be able to create a group of acoustic-level experts in a very short time. In the end, the Celestial Vault Mansion seemed to think of something and suddenly said, By the way, Xing Hui, didn't you say that you needed enough spatial crystals? In fact, the heart of the world is the best spatial crystal. If you need it, you can use it temporarily. Chapter 695. The heart of the realm can be used as a spatial crystal. Xing Hui's heart was no longer calm. Venerable Master, is what you said true? That's natural. The world core is even more useful than the best spatial crystal. You can use the spatial crystal, but the world core will slowly recover even if you use up all of its energy. That's because it has already broken away from the level of spatial crystal. There is a circulatory system inside it. As long as you have the correct method to guide it, the spatial energy inside it is almost inexhaustible. All right, Xing Hui said heavily, his voice faintly trembling. The teleportation array was repaired. He had the spatial crystal. In addition, Venerable Zhu Zhao, an existence at the profound void realm who could manipulate spatial energy now, he could try to activate the teleportation array and return to Earth. Calculating carefully, it had been a total of 13 years since he left Earth. Even compared to the 10 years he had set for himself, it was 3 years longer. 13 years. How many 13 years could an ordinary person have? In these 13 years, his promise to senior sister Jiang Ningji of the Eastern Sky Sword Sect had faded by more than half. Even the faces of his parents were no longer clear. Even Xing Hui himself felt an indescribable panic. Would he still be alive after another 13 years? Or even 300 years? Would he not even be able to remember the faces of his closest relatives? Fortunately, finally, after persevering and struggling for 13 years, the hope of returning to Earth was suddenly right in front of his eyes. At this moment, He did not even wish to stay a second longer. He only wanted to rush to the Fortune mainland as quickly as possible, to the Purple Firmament Palace's ancestral land where the teleportation array was repaired, to activate the teleportation array in the ancestral land, and then step into the teleportation array to return to Earth. As for the various matters in the divine wilderness, everything would have to wait until he returned to Earth and settled the matters there. Xinghui, what's wrong? At this time, Venerable Master Heaven, Venerable Zhu Zhao, Venerable Master Cangzhen, and the others clearly felt that Xinghui's emotions had become somewhat abnormal after hearing the news. They immediately asked with concern, "Who?" Xinghui exhaled deeply, forcibly suppressing the urge to go to the Fortune mainland. In any case, he had stayed in this world for more than 10 years and had established connections with many people in this world. Although he had never made friends with any of them, including Nail and Fei, Zhangzhen Exalted Being, Zhu Zhao Exalted Being, and even Hidden Sword Venerable, they were still friends. It would be unreasonable for him to leave them behind. Furthermore, he didn't plan on not returning to the divine wilderness after returning to Earth. After witnessing the splendor of the divine wilderness, if he were to return to Earth and remain a nobody, he would not be able to accept it. Therefore, there were some things that he needed to make preparations for. Especially for the unfalling flower, he had to at least prepare a few. Only by letting his parents consume the unfalling flower would he be able to live for more than 1,000 years. Only then would he be able to do as he pleased in the divine wilderness. In fact, if everything went smoothly, he wanted to bring his parents and relatives, as well as the people from the Eastern Sky Sword sect who were not compatible with Earth, to the divine wilderness. He believed that with the temperament of the people from the Eastern Sky Sword sect, they would be able to live a better life in the divine wilderness. With his current strength, he could ensure that they would be able to live a carefree life in the divine wilderness. I'm fine. Venerable Masters, I would like to ask you for a favor. Help me find a way to find out the whereabouts of the unfalling flower. As for the number, the more the better. At least 3 stalks. Xinghui said cautiously, "This is no problem. Although the unfalling flower is precious, the probability of it appearing in the Primal Chaos Treasure Pavilion is not small. It won't be difficult to find it and buy it. If it's fast, it'll take 3 to 5 days. If it's slow, it'll take 10 to 15 days. Venerable Zhangzhen said. Xinghui nodded. I'll send the Dao aura to you in a while. Buy as many as you can. It's a small matter. Venerable Zhangzhen said with a smile. After Xinghui finished speaking, he turned to Venerable Zhu Zhao. Venerable Master, there's something I'm afraid I have to ask you to do personally. I'm going to a place. After I go there, I might not be able to come back. I need your help. It'll take about a year or 2. Go to a place? Although Venerable Zhu Zhao felt a little strange, he agreed without hesitation. Okay, you're going to bring the World Core with you, right? In the next 1 or 2 years, I'll wait for you while comprehending the World Core. I'll strive to step into the vacuum-shattering realm as soon as possible. Venerable Zhangzhen, who was on the side, also echoed, Chaos Town Master won't dare to act rashly in the next 1 or 2 years. Therefore, even if Venerable Zhu Zhao isn't in our Celestial Vault during this period, you don't have to worry. If there's anything important, you too can do it. Xinghui had saved all of their lives. From Xinghui's change just now, they inferred that what he was going to do next was obviously very important to him. Therefore, even if Xinghui didn't tell them what it was, Venerable Zhangzhen, Venerable Zhu Zhao, and the others still fully supported him. Thank you, Venerable Masters. Xinghui bowed to them cautiously. Venerable Zhangzhen, and Venerable Zhu Zhao immediately stepped aside. You don't have to do that. At the same time, they secretly decided that they had to deal with this matter properly for Xinghui. In this way, they could also repay the various favors they owed during this period. I'll have to trouble you with the matter of the non-falling flowers. Since Tian Dao will be quiet for a while, I'll go back to the Conley continent first. I still have Taoist Master He Tian and Taoist Master Mo Sun in my hands. I believe that after squeezing out the chaos incantation and divine weapons from them, I'll obtain enough Taoist items to buy the non-falling flowers. Sing Hui said with a smile. After that, he seemed to have thought of something and added, I can't keep an eye on the Conley continent all the time, but it's related to the mining of a large number of dust cleansing stones. I think it's best to let a powerful figure go with me and let him stay on the Conley continent. That's right. Venerable Zhongzhen nodded in agreement. If there was no powerful figure on the Conley continent, it would indeed be too unsafe. Even if everyone already knew that the Conley continent was now occupied by Tianqiong, and Tianqiong's reputation was at its peak because of the battle with Tian Dao, they still had to be careful of some desperados who would take risks. I'll go over there and stay on guard. Venerable Yuanri pondered for a while and requested, I'm enough. Moreover, in terms of cultivation, as long as I don't encounter a divine being, there's nothing to be afraid of. With me staying on the Conley continent, it should be enough to ensure safety. Yuanri, you're going. It's indeed enough if you go, but for safety's sake, I'll let Wu Fa go with you. At least we can take care of each other. Venerable Zhongzhen said. All right, it's settled then. Venerable Yuanri nodded. Venerable Yuanri and Venerable Wu Fa, please make arrangements. We'll directly use the incarnation technique in a while. Sing Hui said. There's nothing particularly important that needs to be arranged. Venerable Yuanri smiled. Everyone could see that Sing Hui was obviously quite anxious now. Under such circumstances, they were naturally willing to put down the things in their hands and focus on the things that Sing Hui wanted to do. For them, as long as it wasn't an urgent matter, it wouldn't be strange to delay it for 3 to 5 years, let alone 1 or 2 years. Then we'll go to the Conley continent now. Go. Anyway, you have the backtrack technique. Even if you go to the Conley continent and return, it'll only take 2 or 3 days. These 2 or 3 days aren't even enough for us to smoothly deal with Tianqiong's matters. Venerable Zhongzhen said with a smile. Sing Hui nodded and was about to leave with Venerable Yuanri and Venerable Wu Fa. But at this time, as if he thought of something, he suddenly said, By the way, when I transformed into the Kuan Peng and tore through the space maze to escape, I coincidentally met the Li Hin holy man and used the innate means of the Kuan Peng to sign a slave contract with him. Take a look. Can I use this contract to subdue the Li Hin holy man and then send him back into the heavenly way to contribute to the 15th order great formation that breaks the heavenly way from the inside? The Li Hin holy man? You used the Kuan Peng incarnation to take the Li Hin holy man as a slave? Venerable Zhongzhen and Venerable Wu Fa were stunned at the same time. This kind of thing was obviously somewhat unheard of. Sing Hui didn't hold back. With a wave of his hand, the Li Hin holy man was already thrown out of his personal space. Because of the short time, the Li Hin holy man had not yet awakened. Can the Kuan Peng really sign a slave contract with a human when transformed using the transformation technique? Venerable Zhongzhen was a little curious. Sing Hui sensed carefully and frowned before shaking his head and saying, No, I can't use the power of the contract in my human form, but I can feel the existence of the power of the contract. If you can't use the power of the contract, then it's troublesome. You can't possibly transform into the Kuan Peng every time you want to punish the Li Hin holy man, right? It's not that I can't. I just have to find the blood of the Kuan Peng that's only in the Sage Realm. Transforming into the Kuan Peng of the Sage Realm doesn't cost me much. Leave it to me, Li Hin holy man. At this time, Venerable Zhongzhen spoke. His expression was a little cold. One had to know that the reason why Broken Sword betrayed him was because he was the son of the Li Hin holy man. Sing Hui pondered for a while and nodded. Then I'll leave it to you. In addition, I have the chaos spell of the Li Hin holy man. It's not a high level, only 29. If anyone wants it, you can take it away for 150 Taoist rhymes. 150 Taoist rhymes is not necessary. We are not afraid of the heavenly Tao now. Why is a 29th level chaos spell of the heavenly Tao only selling for 150 Taoist rhymes? 180 Taoist rhymes. Give it to me first. I'll find a buyer for you. Venerable Zhongzhen said. Sing Hui did not want to go through too much trouble and directly agreed. Then I'll have to trouble Venerable Zongjin. Don't be so polite with me. Okay, you Yuanri and Wu Fa go do your thing. Venerable Zongjin waved his hand. Sing Hui nodded. Without delay, he directly put Yuanri and Wu Fa Zhenren into his personal space. Then he directly contacted Su Fei in the Chaos Temple and asked for Su Fei's spiritual coordinates. After confirming his position, he directly activated the transformation technique. The weekend has arrived. When everyone is resting and having fun, it is the beginning of the outbreak of Chengfen. Today and tomorrow, it will be presented at 5 o'clock p.m. Chapter 696. Conli Continent. In the mine of the Bieli mountain range, Su Fei, who was inspecting a batch of dust stones, was slightly taken aback. The next moment, he hurriedly said to Su Qiubai, who was accompanying him, "Elder is coming. Quickly get ready and gather all the important personnel. The sooner the better." Ever since he had captured the lightning punishment Dao in a short amount of time before everyone in the Bieli mountain range in Qingsu and defeated the powerhouses of the Heaven's Way, the Divine Wilderness, and the Eternal Holiness Realm, his status in the hearts of Su Fei and the others had become infinitely greater. He was like a god. Now that he heard that he was about to descend, Su Qiubai immediately dared not waste any time. Su Fei also headed to his courtyard study. Not long after, when Su Fei came out of his study again, there was already Sing Hui, who was worshipped by everyone in the Bieli mountain range, and two senior experts, who were not gods but were full of powerful oppressive force. Su Fei led Sing Hui directly to the main hall of the courtyard, where there were already more than a dozen people waiting. Seeing Sing Hui arrive, the dozen people respectfully bowed at the same time. Sing Hui nodded to these people, and at the same time said to Su Fei, "These two are Master Yuanri and Sage Wu Fa of the Sky Dome Domain. During this period of time, I have asked you to carefully understand the distribution of forces in the Heaven Wasteland Domain, and I believe you have heard of their names. From now on, these two will be in charge of the mine of the Bieli mountain range, and will be responsible for the safety of the mine. If there is no major matter, do not disturb their cultivation, understand? Master Yuanri?" Su Fei and Su Qiubai naturally understood that this was an elder of the Sky Dome Domain, and hurriedly bowed to the two. "We pay our respects to Master Yuanri and Sage Wu Fa. No need to be so polite." Master Yuanri smiled and waved his hand. These people were Tsing Hui's subordinates. Even if their cultivation base was weak, but because they followed Tsing Hui, he had to give them enough face. "How is the interrogation of Dao Mo Sun and Dao Black Heaven?" Tsing Hui asked again after introducing Master Yuanri and Sage Wu Fa. "My lord, Dao Master Black Sky and Dao Master Mo Sun have both submitted," Su Fei said respectfully. "All right, take me there." Tsing Hui said, "I'll go take a look as well." Dao Master He Tian and Dao Master Mo Sun are both renowned experts in the Heaven Dao. Among them, Dao Master He Tian had once fought with me, Venerable Yuanri said. "All right then." Qingsu nodded to Su Fei. Immediately, Su Fei led the way, and they arrived at another courtyard very soon. The guards who had received the news had already cleaned up the courtyard and brought Taoist Master Black Heaven and Taoist Master Mo Sun over, locking them in their own rooms. Taoist Master Black Heaven was the first person they came to check on. Although only a few days had passed, Tao Lord Black Heaven's spirit seemed to have been sucked out of his body. Even though he had cleaned himself up a little and changed into a new set of clothes, the miserable aura still lingered on him. Anyone who saw him would never associate him with Tao Lord Black Heaven, one of the 36 Tao Lords of the Heavenly Tao who stood high above the masses. Tao Lord Black Heaven, Sing Hui said. Tao Lord Black Heaven raised his head when he heard the voice. When he saw Tsing Hui and Venerable Yuanri, his pupils suddenly shrank. But in the next moment, he became numb. The winner takes all, and the loser takes all. I've already given you what you want. Next, I only ask for a quick death. Tao Lord Black Heaven said in a hoarse voice. Tsing Hui looked at the terrifying existence in front of him who had given him a feeling of invincibility when he was in the eastern wilderness. He took a deep breath and no longer spoke. Instead, his gaze fell on venerable Yuenri. We're just serving different masters. Since he has already handed over what we want, let's give him a quick death. As for letting him go, it's naturally impossible. Although we've gained an advantage in the battle against the heavenly Tao, it will still take some time to turn this advantage into a victory. At least, we have to wait until Venerable Zhu Zhao breaks through to the void-shattering realm. Before that, we still have to find ways to weaken the power of the heavenly Tao. Xinghui nodded. The heavenly Tao can't do anything to the heavenly Tao. I knew it. Otherwise, the heavenly Tao wouldn't have remained silent for so long. Tao Lord Blackheaven's face was instantly filled with grief. The era of the heavenly Tao suppressing everything has passed. Xinghui said indifferently. Tao Lord Blackheaven looked at Xinghui in front of him, and a cold smile appeared on his numb face. Do you really think that the heavenly Tao has won? It won't be long. Calculating the time, it won't be long. I'll wait for you in hell. When they arrive, all of you will be buried together with me, and all of the people of the heavenly Tao who have fallen halfway. Xinghui frowned, and then he seemed to recall the words of the Black Ice Holy Master. What do you know? Speak. I don't know anything, but according to their words and actions, as well as their willingness to put aside some benefits to join forces with the eternal world and the divine wilderness, I can guess that they're coming. It won't be long. In less than 100 years, the entire divine wilderness will usher in an unprecedented situation. When that time comes, the world will tremble for the will of the heavenly Tao. As Tao Lord Blackheaven said this, there was a hint of madness in his eyes. You don't know? Since you don't know, then you're useless. Anyway, we've already captured the Li Hin Holy Man alive. When the time comes, I can naturally get the information we want from him. The Li Hin Holy Man? You captured the Li Hin Holy Man alive? That's impossible. Tao Lord Blackheaven's eyes widened. It's not up to you whether it's possible or not. I'll send you on your way. After Xinghui finished speaking, he flicked his hand, and a streak of fiery red sword chi shot out from his hand. In an instant, it pierced through the head of the Li Hin Holy Man. The sword chi exploded, and a blazing hot current spread along the hole created by the sword chi, burning the Li Hin Holy Man into ashes. It seems that we have to send a message to Master Zhu Zhao as soon as possible. We can't kill the Li Hin Holy Man so easily. We have to interrogate him to find out the real movements of the heavenly Tao. After killing Tao Lord Blackheaven, Xinghui's expression was a little serious. Master Yuenri nodded his head. However, I'm afraid that things won't be so simple. Unlike cultivators below the divine stage, the saints have already transferred a part of their soul power, which is their consciousness, into their own domain origin. Under some special circumstances, they can even sever the connection between their physical body and consciousness. Therefore, it's very difficult for the saints to get anything out of them through physical torture. Xinghui naturally understood this point. It seems that when the time comes, we can only use provocation to provoke them into revealing the information. According to them, the they mentioned by Tao Lord Blackheaven should still take 80 to 90 years to arrive, but the faster we get detailed information, the faster we can make preparations. Xinghui said, it's better not to leak this information out for the time being. We can't even let the eternity and divine wilderness know. Hearing Master Yuenri's words, Xinghui seemed to understand something. He immediately said, You're worried. Master Yuenri nodded his head seriously. Once the divine wilderness and eternity receive this information, there will only be two reactions. The first is to join forces with the Heaven's Dome Empire and eliminate the ever-increasing threat of the heavenly Tao in one fell swoop. The other possibility is to betray the heavenly Tao. After all, the eternity and the heavenly Tao are competing for benefits, not life and death. Most of the people in the divine wilderness have joined forces to pursue a higher level of cultivation. We really can't expect such a force to be very cohesive. Xinghui nodded his head. However, there was no need to be too pessimistic about this matter. Don't forget that Master Zhu Zhao had the originator. Now that he had the world core, there was no longer any difficulty in reaching the vacuum-shattering realm. If everything went smoothly, his cultivation would reach the peak of the vacuum-shattering realm within 10 years. At that time, with the originator and the dragonization fruit, he would probably be able to condense the divine true body. After that, the world core would also have a good supporting effect. As long as Master Zhu Zhao could step into the reigning realm within 100 years, he could raise his personal space to the 10th order and take them into the chaotic void to fly to other worlds. Although this was equivalent to giving up the divine wilderness world, at least he would have his own way out. After coming out of Downlord Blackheaven's room, Master Yuanri contacted Master Zhu Zhao, and Xinghui was too lazy to see Downlord and Mo Sun again. He just kept their divine weapons, resources, and treasures in his personal space. He left a portion of these resources and treasures for Su Fei. After all, the Su family's cultivation was too weak. They didn't even reach the Saint Realm. As for the remaining resources, he quickly contacted Sword Shadow, Rainbow Sword Sect, and Black Flame Cult. He used their channels to quickly sell off these divine weapons, including Downlord Blackheaven's and Downlord Mo Sun's chaos techniques. As 3 days passed, Downlord Blackheaven's, Downlord Mo Sun's, and Thunder Punishment Daylord's resources were mostly sold. As these items were digested by Rainbow Sword Sect, Black Flame Cult, Sword Shadow, and Sky Dome, and due to the lack of time, the selling price was not satisfactory. In the end, Xinghui only received about 1,600 Downlord carrying items. These Downlord carrying items included 4 unfalling flowers. After deducting the cost of the unfalling flowers, Xinghui received less than 900 Downlord carrying items. Even so, the amount of Downlord carrying items he had squandered to increase his chaos level reached a new high. The total amount reached a shocking 1,300 Downlord carrying items. After collecting the 184 Downlord carrying items from the last chaos technique, Xinghui reappeared in Sky Dome's encampment. He was exhausted from running around during this period of time, but there was no displeasure on his face. Phew! Standing outside the courtyard where the world core was stored, Xinghui let out a deep breath and suppressed the churning thoughts in his heart. He had never felt so close to returning to Earth. Chapter 697. Master Xinghui. Outside the courtyard where the heart of the world was kept, the 10 guards in the Golden Elixir realm saluted respectfully at the sight of Xinghui. Xinghui nodded. In the courtyard, the Purple Sky Immortal, who was in charge of this place, had already walked out. When he saw Xinghui, he smiled and said, "Have you finished your business? I'm almost done with it. All right, I'll go inform Reverend Zhu Zhao." Reverend Zhu Zhao, Reverend Zhongzhen, Yulan, and Reverend Hidden Sword are all in this courtyard, comprehending the mysteries of this world core. Purple Sky Immortal said. Master Hidden Sword is also here? Xinghui was a little surprised, but after a while, he felt that it was reasonable. Before going to the ancient cave residence, Xinghui had chatted with Master Hidden Sword. Master Hidden Sword believed that the next step of his ultimate sword principle would be to directly jump to the vacuum-shattering realm. Since he had not experienced the realm of dominion and profound void realm, in order to achieve this, the spiritual level of the ultimate sword principle's cultivator must not be inferior to the vacuum-shattering realm experts. At the same time, his understanding of the law of space was even better than that of ordinary vacuum-shattering realm experts. Master Hidden Sword probably came to this courtyard after hearing about the mysteries of the heart of the world, after hearing about his speculation about the next realm. He wanted to try to comprehend the law of space and lay the foundation for the third step of the ultimate sword principle. Master Hidden Sword is here. During the days when you were away, he even fought with Master Zhu Zhao once. Master Zhu Zhao was full of praise for Master Hidden Sword's sword principle. If not for the fact that Master Zhu Zhao's sword essence is no longer pure, he would not dare to take such a big risk. I'm afraid that he could not help but change to Master Hidden Sword's ultimate sword principle. Purple Sky Immortal said with a smile as he transmitted a message to several people in the courtyard. Master Zhu Zhao, do you have anything to add to Master Zhu Zhao's ultimate sword principle? Naturally, Xing Hui would not take Master Zhu Zhao's words seriously. After all, his future cultivation path would be smooth. It was impossible for him to abandon the divine beast bloodline cultivation system and choose the extreme sword Dao that had only been deduced up to the sword force stage. In fact, although Xing Hui was able to erupt with battle prowess not inferior to that of a top expert by relying on the ultimate sword principle and sword force, it was basically because he had a good foundation. On the one hand, he had cultivated a supreme magical ability, and on the other hand, his spiritual level had reached level 143. Most importantly, he had integrated the spiritual secret technique of the Xia Empire into his sword force, causing its power to skyrocket. Without these factors, it would be very difficult for him to deal with a Saint Realm powerhouse. Master Zhu Zhao doesn't have any other advice for the ultimate sword Dao. He just thinks that the ultimate sword Dao relies too much on the natal sword Dao. According to Hidden Sword Venerable's original intention, the ultimate sword Dao should be based on the person, too reliant on the natal sword. When Xing Hui heard this, his heart skipped a beat. Whether or not one had a natal sword would have a great impact on the cultivator of the ultimate sword Dao. Xing Hui, are you done with your business? While Xing Hui was pondering, Master Zhu Zhao's voice came from the courtyard. Then, Master Zhu Zhao, Master Zhongzhen, Yulan, and Hidden Sword Venerable walked out of the courtyard at the same time. Master's Sword Venerable. Xing Hui bowed to Master Zhu Zhao, Master Zhongzhen, and Hidden Sword Venerable. As for Yulan, she just nodded. If Xing Hui's seniority was not too low, Yulan would have to bow to him because of his identity as a master. Master Zhu Zhao, I heard you mention that the cultivation of the ultimate sword Dao relies too much on the natal sword. Is there a way to neutralize it? The way to solve it? Master Zhu Zhao seemed to be thinking about something. After a while, he said, in fact, I mentioned this to Master Tsang Qiong yesterday. Master Tsang Qiong said that in the ancient times before the divine wilderness world was shattered, there seemed to be a strange cultivator called Sword Immortal. This cultivator did not cultivate a natal divine weapon, but a natal sword chi. When the sword chi was released and injected into the plants, it could also turn the plants into a peerless divine weapon. However, the legend of Sword Immortal he saw came from biography. He did not know whether this kind of cultivator in the ancient times was man-made or real. Sword Immortal? Xing Hui's breathing stagnated slightly. There was a legend of Sword Immortal in this world. Xing Hui was already familiar with a series of legends, such as the Fortune Continent, the Purple Cloud Palace, the Fortune Divine Jade, various immortal techniques, and a supreme demon refining sword. However, these words were like the tip of the iceberg. There was no more after that, so he did not continue to investigate. But now, in addition to the Purple Cloud Palace, the Fortune Divine Jade, various immortal techniques, and the Supreme Demon Refining Sword, there was a legend of Sword Immortal. He could not help but wonder if the divine wilderness world was related to the ancient myths and legends of the Earth world. Otherwise, how could the Purple Cloud Palace, the Fortune Divine Jade, the Three Pure Sages, and Sword Immortal in the myths and legends of the Earth world be found in the divine wilderness world? Xing Hui, have you heard of Sword Immortal? Master Zhu Zhao asked curiously. Xing Hui shook his head. I have only heard of some similar legends. I don't know what kind of creature Sword Immortal is and what kind of cultivation system it is. Is that so? Master Zhu Zhao said thoughtfully. When the time comes, I will ask people to organize the ancient books before the divine wilderness world was destroyed and see if we can find any detailed information about Sword Immortal. However, the war 10,000 years ago was too tragic. The divine wilderness world was destroyed, and too many sects and orthodoxies were destroyed. Only a tenth of what was passed down is left. It will not be easy to find detailed information about Sword Immortal. Let's do our best, Xing Hui said. This time, if he could successfully return to the Earth world, he would take some time to study the ancient myths and legends of the Earth world. He used to treat these ancient myths and legends as novels and legends, but now, there seemed to be a shocking secret hidden in them. Hidden Sword Venerable heard the conversation between Tsing Hui and Master Zhu Zhao and understood that Tsing Hui was going to leave for a while. He could not help but hesitate. Tsing Hui naturally noticed this detail. In fact, he also wanted to go to the Hidden Sword Sect's Myriad Sword Peak to sense the sword spirit that Hidden Sword Venerable had mentioned. However, Sword Sovereign, I can't calm my mind at all right now. I can't wait to settle the matter at hand. Even if I really return to the Hidden Sword Sect with you, I'm afraid it's impossible for me to enter that mysterious state of swordsmanship when my mind is so unstable. Therefore, I can only wait until I've settled this matter before heading to the Hidden Sword Sect. Tsing Hui said apologetically. Hidden Sword Venerable quickly waved his hand and said, "There's no need to rush this matter. After all, everything I told you is based on speculation. I don't have any evidence to back it up. Maybe everything I said was just empty talk. So, you should focus on what you need to do first." Tsing Hui nodded and turned to Master Zhu Zhao. "Master, let's go." "Okay, where are we going?" "The Fortune Continent." Fortune Continent? Master Zhu Zhao had obviously heard of this mysterious continent before. When he heard Huang Xiaolong mention it, he was slightly surprised. "How are you going to get to the Fortune Continent?" "I plan to use the teleportation technique." Before Tsing Hui could finish his sentence, he immediately understood what Master Zhu Zhao was referring to. Teleportation technique? Teleport with a world core? Did he think that his teleportation technique was too accurate? Did he want to travel to the void layer for free? I remember that the Fortune Continent is more than 100 million kilometers away from our Heaven Wasteland world. In between, there are divine beasts and saint beasts in the outer seas. If we rely on flying, it won't be easy. Tsing Hui frowned. It's not that there is no way. I can use the world core to teleport there. If there is an accident and we enter the void layer, I can use the transformation technique to transform into the divine beast Kuan Peng and fly to the Fortune Continent. However, this process will take a lot longer. There is no need to go through so much trouble. I remember that you want the Void Crystal and not the World Core, right? Do you remember that the Illuminating World Sect has Void Crystal for auction? Master Zhu Zhao said with a smile. Tsing Hui naturally remembered this matter clearly. However, isn't there still a few months before the Illuminating World Sect's auction? Now that all our preparations have been completed, I really don't want to wait any longer. A few months? Haha, Tsing Hui, you are underestimating yourself too much. At the same time, you are also underestimating our Sky Dome Sect's influence in the Heaven Wasteland world after the battle at the Karma Peak. At this time, if you say that you want the Void Crystal in the Illuminating World Sect's hands, you don't need to take the initiative to go there. The Illuminating World Sect will deliver the Void Crystal to you at the first moment. Why would you need to wait for the auction in a few months? Even if the Illuminating World Sect's background is the Eternity Sect, there will be no exception. Master Zhu Zhao said with a smile. Eternity is not the heavenly Tao. Master Zhang chuckled and echoed. The heavenly Tao is protected by a 15th order formation. Even if you transform into the divine beast Kuan Peng that can shatter the vacuum, you will not be able to tear apart the protective formation and kill your way into the heavenly Tao. However, eternity is not necessarily the same, let alone the Illuminating World Sect, which is only supported by eternity. A few days ago at the Karma Peak, when you transformed into the divine beast Kuan Peng and tore apart the chaos domain of the Chaos Holy Man, you also tore apart most of the courage of the other saints and top forces. I can guarantee that your words in the divine wilderness world will be more effective than those of the Greater One Emperor, the Chaos Holy Man, and the divine elder of the ancient wilderness. Is it really possible? Of course, I can guarantee that, as long as you say the word, the Void Crystal will be delivered to our Sky Dome Sect station within 3 days. If you don't find it troublesome and personally make a trip, you should be able to get the Void Crystal of the Illuminating World Sect by nightfall today. After esteemed Zhu Zhao finished speaking, he added with a smile, "Do you know what kind of nickname you have in the divine wilderness? Sword Venerable Tsinghui." Before Master Zhu Zhao spoke, Master Zhang had already said, "Venerable as in Sword Principle Supreme." Although the title of Sword Venerable is mostly due to the Kuan Peng's incarnation, even without the Kuan Peng's incarnation, your attainments in Sword Principle make you a supreme in the divine wilderness. Supreme in Sword Principle. Qing Su murmured to himself when he heard that. A while later, he shook his head. "I wouldn't dare to call myself the sovereign of the way of the sword. Moreover, the extreme way of the sword that I practice all originates from the hidden Sword Venerable. If we're talking about the true sovereign of the way of the sword, it should be the hidden Sword Venerable. Don't flatter me. You deserve the title of Sword Venerable." Hidden Sword Venerable said with a smile, "I think I have to change my name from now on. I'll just call myself Hidden Sword Sage, so as not to conflict with your title. Hidden Sword Venerable, you don't have to belittle yourself. In fact, with your ultimate sword principle attainments, it's most appropriate to call yourself Hidden Sword Master. Hidden Sword Master, Sword Venerable Tsinghui. I remember that Tsinghui is the supreme elder of the Hidden Sword sect. With 2 sages in one sect, the Hidden Sword sect can be called a top sword sect in the divine wilderness." Purple Sky Sage interrupted. "That's right, a top sword sect. Because of Tsinghui, it can even be called the #1 sword sect in the world." Tsinghui shook his head and stopped chatting with Master Zhang, Master Zhu Zhao, and the others. "I'll send an incarnation to the Illuminating World sect. Although it might be a little weak, I really don't want to wait any longer." Anxious to return home. Tsinghui's mood could be described as anxious to return home. He did not want to delay any longer. Chapter 698. The Glorious Era Sect. A quarter of an hour ago, the Glorious Era Sect was still calm and tranquil. However, the Glorious Era Sect somehow got the news and began to move rapidly. From the grand elders of the divine stage of the Glorious Era Sect to the ordinary deacons, all of them quickly carried out their duties and warned the forces under their jurisdiction not to act rashly in the following period of time. Otherwise, regardless of the reason, they would be punished according to the sect rules. In the main courtyard of the Glorious Era Sect, the 2 great elders of the Glorious Era Sect, Yao Longwang and Ying Tianxing, as well as the master of the Glorious Era Sect, Yao Tianmong, were waiting at the front. Behind the 3 of them, there was a male and 2 female disciples who looked rather young, standing with their hands erect. However, it seemed that they had been waiting for a long time. One of the girls among the 3 young people was obviously somewhat impatient. She could not help muttering, "Do you have to be so exaggerated? As far as I know, Tsinghui has cultivated for less than 40 years and is younger than me. No matter how amazing he is, how powerful can he be? I feel that all the rumors about him being a supreme master are nothing more than baseless rumors. In fact, it might even be a bluff that Tianxiong used when his strength was insufficient. In reality, he might not be that powerful. Junior sister, don't spout nonsense." The Green Ruins Swordmaster. The Green Ruin Swordmaster was able to make such a name for himself, so he obviously has his own strengths. He's not as useless as you say. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's that powerful. I heard that the reason why he was able to tear apart the primal chaos dimension was entirely because of his extremely high level of primal chaos. He borrowed the power of the son of primal chaos to transform into a divine beast, the Kuan Peng, to achieve this. If the Illuminating Era sect had placed all the Tao-carrying treasures on one person, we might have been able to increase his primal chaos rank. By then, he would have been able to transform into a powerful divine beast and defeat him. We wouldn't have had to prepare in advance after knowing that he was coming. Shut up. Before the young girl had even finished speaking, the sect master of the Glorious World sect, Yao Tianmong, had already turned around and scolded her viciously. If it really is as easy as you say, then it'll be easy. A very long time ago, our eternal Tai Emperor once transformed into a golden crow. Back then, he only transformed into a golden crow at the first layer of the Saint Realm, but he still couldn't last for very long. If he tried, his body would almost explode. Even a golden crow at the first layer of the Saint Realm was like that, let alone a golden crow at the third layer of the Saint Realm. If the Tai Emperor and the Green Ruin Swordmaster really managed to transform into golden crows at the third layer of the Saint Realm, all the Green Ruin Swordmaster needed to do was buy some time, and the golden crow would collapse on its own. Otherwise, why would the heavenly Tao, divine wilderness, and eternal forces immediately change their attitude towards the Heaven Vault Alliance and the other three sects after the battle at Karma Peak? Patriarch Tai actually couldn't transform into a divine beast at the third level of the Saint Realm? How did Xinghui do it? How'd he do it? Yao Tianmong muttered. I'm afraid this is a question that everyone in the divine wilderness wants to know. All right, enough talk. Honorable Swordmaster Tsing Hui has arrived. At this moment, the brilliant Dragon Emperor, who was in the saint stage, suddenly said. As he spoke, the chi of heaven and earth and the void surged from all directions and gathered at a point in the sky above the courtyard. Not long after, an avatar at the awakening realm was formed. Haha, greetings, Honorable Swordmaster Tsing Hui. Honorable Swordmaster Tsing Hui has graced our illuminating world sect with your presence. Your presence brings light to our humble dwelling. The two grand elders of the illuminating world sect laughed heartily when they saw the incarnation form. Elder Dragon Monarch, Elder Heavenly Star, thank you for waiting so long. Tsing Hui nodded at the two. Honorable Swordmaster Tsing Hui is too courteous. Come in, please come in. There's no need for that. The two of you should already know the purpose of my visit. These void crystals are very important to me. I hope that the two of you and the rest of the Illuminating World sect will part with them. I, Tsing Hui, will remember this in my heart. Tsing Hui cupped his hands at the Radiant Dragon Monarch and Ing Tianxing solemnly. Seeing Tsing Hui's seriousness, the two grand elders restrained their expressions and took out a treasure box. Honorable Swordmaster Tsing Hui, the void crystals are here. Please take a look. Qing Su immediately accepted the box of spatial crystals eagerly. When he opened the box, the spatial crystals and the power of space within gushed out, causing the space around him to distort slightly. If it were not for the fact that his avatar was at a high enough level, his avatar would have been in danger of being destroyed from the impact of the power of space. There are actually 20 void crystals here. Tsing Hui was overjoyed. Hee, we originally bought 20 void crystals from the Chaos Treasure Pavilion, but we originally planned to keep 10 for future use. However, since Honorable Swordmaster Tsing Hui needs these void crystals, we'll naturally use them to fulfill your wish. As long as Honorable Swordmaster Tsing Hui is satisfied, it's fine, Radiant Dragon Monarch said with a smile. Satisfied, I'm very satisfied, Tsing Hui said and took out 400 Dao charms worth of items from the space. Honorable Radiant Dragon Monarch, please take a look. There's no need for so many. Honorable Swordmaster Tsing Hui, one void crystal only costs 10 Dao charms in the Chaos Treasure Pavilion. How can we charge you 400 Dao charms? That's too much. The brilliant Dragon Emperor looked at all the treasures before him. Even though he was very tempted to take all of them in a single stroke, he had no choice but to suppress this thought in order to befriend Qing Su, who possessed limitless potential. He waved his hand and said, that's right. The market price of void crystals is between 15 to 20 Dao charms. I urgently need these void crystals, so 20 Dao charms isn't too high a price. We can only accept 300 Dao charms at most. 400 Dao charms worth of items is indeed too much for us, Radiant Dragon Monarch said, and quickly put the 300 Dao charms worth of items into space, then pushed the remaining 100 Dao charms worth of items over. 100 Dao charms worth of items was often equivalent to the average income of a divine sage for several years. If it was during normal times, two divine sages might even turn against each other because of these Dao charms. However, Radiant Dragon Monarch was pushing the 100 Dao charms worth of items out. From this point alone, one could see the huge impact Xing Hui had on the divine wilderness after tearing the Chaos Realm apart. "Thank you very much, Radiant Dragon Monarch," Xing Hui said to Radiant Dragon Monarch, and put away the remaining 100 Dao charms worth of items. "I still have something to deal with. Once I'm done with it, I'll talk to Radiant Dragon Monarch. I've awakened the Golden Crow bloodline, so I believe we'll have something in common." Radiant Dragon Monarch's face lit up when he heard this. "I've long heard of Sword Sovereign Xing Hui's swordsmanship, especially that Sunburst sword. It can actually use an extremely small portion of its power to trigger the laws and unleash an attack that's several times more terrifying. It's truly earth-shattering. If I'm fated to see it, my life won't be in vain. There will be a chance." Xing Hui nodded to Radiant Dragon Monarch. "I'll take my leave first. In the future, the Radiant Era sect and our Sky Dome family will have to interact more. Of course, when Sword Sovereign Xing Hui is done with his business, I'll definitely find an opportunity to pay him a visit. Then I'll be waiting for you, Radiant Dragon Monarch." With that, Xing Hui put away the Dao charms and spatial crystal into his personal space. Although the spatial crystal also contained the power of space, it was clearly within the range of a 10th order personal space. Therefore, the problem of not being able to keep it in his personal space would not arise. After putting away the items, Xing Hui cupped his hands, and his avatar immediately dissipated, turning into a wave of Yuan Qi ripples that spread in all directions. Radiant Dragon Monarch only let out a sigh of relief when he saw Xing Hui leave. "Great Elder, the Emperor of Eternity won't be displeased with how well we've befriended this master of the Green Ruins sword, right?" Radiant Era Sect Master Yao Tianmong asked worriedly when he saw his Supreme Elder's attitude towards Xing Hui. "What do you know? In fact, we've already received instructions from the Eternal Emperor. The relationship between the Heavenly Dao and Sky Dome family can't be considered friendly, especially the Heavenly Dao. 3 great sages have fallen, and it can be said that their vitality has been greatly damaged. The enmity between the two sides is already irreconcilable. In 3 to 5 years, the Heavenly Dao and Sky Dome family are bound to have a great war. However, if we don't show an attitude of befriending Sky Dome family might think that we're trying to take advantage of the situation when the time comes and deal with the Heavenly Dao." As the sect master of the Radiant Era sect, Yao Tianmong's intelligence was naturally not lacking. He quickly connected the dots, and his eyes lit up. "We're doing this to make Sky Dome family feel that the Eternal Emperor has no intention of becoming enemies with them, so that they can boldly declare war on the Heavenly Dao." "Exactly." Radiant Dragon Emperor nodded. "I believe that the Divine Wilderness has also received similar instructions." After saying that, he paused for a moment before adding, "Of course, there's no need to offend such a peak expert. Otherwise, with Sword Sovereign Xing Hui's urgent demand for void crystals, if we don't give them to him and forcefully rob him, how can our Radiant Era sect resist?" "He dares." The woman behind Yao Tianmong, who had been dissatisfied with Xing Hui, suddenly shouted, "Why wouldn't he dare? He's a terrifying existence who destroyed the entire Divine Ghost sect by himself. Do you think our Radiant Era sect is much harder to deal with than the Divine Ghost sect in his eyes? Especially now, with Venerable Zhu Zhao and Venerable Sky Dome here." Radiant Dragon Emperor coldly snorted. "If you don't want to be bullied, you first have to have the ability. If you don't have the ability and can't recognize your own shortcomings, then you're just asking for death." After saying that, he couldn't be bothered to teach the juniors of the sect a lesson. Under Yao Tianmong's somewhat guilty bow, he turned and left. Chapter 699. The Fortune Mainland, the ancestral land of the Purple Cloud Palace. At this time, Si Kongming was waiting there with a group of elders who specialized in mysterious arrays. As Xing Hui's figure appeared, these people, including the sect master of the Burning Sky sect, all came up to greet him respectfully. Greetings, Master of Fortune. Rise. How is the repair of the divine teleportation array going? Reporting to the Creation Lord, we have repaired the teleportation formation again over the past few days to ensure that it has been restored to its most perfect state. As long as we have enough void crystals as energy and a peerless master of Space Force, we will be able to activate the teleportation formation, the Creation Lord said with a smile. Sikong Ming said respectfully. In the end, he said with some hesitation, it's just that we really can't be sure which realm this teleportation formation will teleport us to. If there's any danger behind the formation, the consequences will be unimaginable. Thus, I hope that the Master of Creation will carefully consider whether to activate this formation. Okay, you don't have to say any more. After Tsing Hui finished speaking, he waved his hand and esteemed Zhu Zhao's figure stepped out of his personal space. As soon as he stepped out of his personal space, esteemed Zhu Zhao immediately felt the abnormality around him. He frowned and said, "Sure enough, we are far away from the center of the world. The Yuan Qi here is really lacking." Esteemed Zhu Zhao, Tsing Hui said to esteemed Zhu Zhao, "I need to activate a divine teleportation array to go to a foreign land. I am worried that something will happen when I return, so I would like to ask esteemed Zhu Zhao to stay here for me and activate the array a year later so that I can return smoothly." Esteemed Zhu Zhao had heard about this from Tsing Hui and nodded. Divine teleportation array. I didn't expect that there would be another teleportation array in our divine wasteland apart from the one that was destroyed in the starry sky. Tsing Hui, do you know where the other side of the divine teleportation array is? If it is dangerous, I don't recommend you to go. You are talented and have a bright future. In just a dozen years, you have cultivated from an ordinary person to a divine being and even an insightful void realm existence. If you continue to cultivate calmly, you may be able to reach the unhindered realm in 100 years. At that time, it will not be difficult for you to travel through the void and travel between worlds. Reigning realm, Tsing Hui shook his head. Master, you should understand the problem I'm facing now. The ultimate Sword Dao is a completely new cultivation system, and no one knows where we'll go in the future. Therefore, whether or not I have the chance to cultivate to the omnipotent realm is still unknown. When Master Zhu Zhao heard this, he didn't know how to continue persuading him. Moreover, this trip is extremely important to me. It's even the source of my motivation for cultivating until now. Now that I have the chance to go to the other side of the formation to take a look, I naturally can't wait and don't want to delay for a moment. Esteemed Zhu Zhao looked at Tsing Hui and then at Sikong Ming and the others. He had some guesses in his heart. Perhaps the reason why Tsing Hui was able to cultivate to the divine being and even the insightful void realm in such a short time was because there was a powerful secret realm behind the transmission divine array. He had entered that secret realm by chance and obtained a huge amount of resources, which allowed him to make rapid progress in the following period. However, because of the ultimate Sword Dao, his cultivation gradually stagnated, and he had no choice but to re-enter the secret realm to find a solution and continue his cultivation path. Although he guessed that the inheritance in the secret realm must be amazing, he didn't have any greed in his heart. He, Zhu Zhao, Cang Zhun, and Yuan Ri were able to walk together because of their affection and righteousness. Tsing Hui's trust in him made him feel a sense of responsibility, but he didn't want to replace Tsing Hui to explore the secret realm or even occupy the entire secret realm. Tsing Hui, you can rest assured that after a year, I will reactivate the array and send you back. In addition, you can rest assured that I won't mention what happened in the Fortune mainland to anyone. Tsing Hui immediately understood the meaning of esteemed Zhu Zhao's words. He immediately bowed solemnly and said, "Thank you, esteemed Zhu Zhao. Well, go and prepare. In a year after you leave, I will think of a way to set up a killing formation here. Although my understanding of formations is far from that of the Anisrava holy man, it is still easy for me to set up a formation that ordinary powerful people can't do anything about," esteemed Zhu Zhao said with a smile. With the cultivation level of the Fortune mainland, An array that could defend against the attack of an almighty powerhouse was more than enough. "Thank you, esteemed Zhu Zhao," Sing Hui said, and then nodded to Si Kongming. Under Si Kongming's lead, the group soon arrived at the Purple Cloud Palace's ancestral land, which was the cave that Sing Hui had mistakenly teleported to for the first time. Compared to the previous cave that was pitch black and crude, the current cave had clearly been renovated. Although it could not be said to be luxurious, it could still be seen clearly. There were a large number of awakening pearls around the cave that were used for illumination. These pearls could not only release a gentle light, but they could also last for hundreds of years without being extinguished. They were the best illumination items. In addition, the walkways of the cave had been cleaned and decorated. Stepping into the cave was like going to a well-decorated scenic spot to explore the secrets, without the slightest feeling of darkness and gloominess. The group walked for a while and soon arrived at the transmission array at the core of the cave. The formation had already been repaired, so it seemed alive. The divine inscriptions on the formation seemed to be filled with mysteries, as if they were filled with endless mysteries. Even the world core that Qing Su had witnessed earlier was probably slightly inferior to the teleportation formation before him. This array. Esteemed Zhu Zhao looked at the transmission array and couldn't help but be slightly moved. The person who arranged this array is amazing. He is at least an 18th order array master, or even an 18th order array master. Just the divine patterns on this array are several times more profound than the ones I saw in the cave of an ancient god. Si Kongming looked at esteemed Zhu Zhao and said with some surprise, "This transmission array is really amazing, but unfortunately, until now, we have not been able to figure out the meaning of the divine patterns on this transmission array. Even its transmission effect was reverse deduced according to the Master of Creation's reminder. As for the other mysteries of this array, they are completely incomprehensible." After saying that, he couldn't help but look regretful. To him, this formation was simply too profound. "Here are the void crystals. Arrange them one by one and see if there are enough." Sing Hui handed the void crystals to Si Kongming. Si Kongming immediately stepped forward and put down the void crystals one by one. In the end, he used a total of 18 void crystals. Looking at the remaining 2 void crystals, Sing Hui couldn't help showing a trace of regret. "It seems that the consumption of void crystals is much greater than I thought. Esteemed Zhu Zhao, in the next year, I'm afraid you will have to collect more void crystals. Let's discuss the time together. Every year at this time, I will wait opposite the transmission array. If you don't collect enough void crystals after a year, then you will have to wait for the next year. Although void crystals are precious, after the Chaos Treasure Pavilion is refreshed, there will be a lot of them. I will try my best to collect the remaining 16 void crystals in a year. However, what you said makes sense. If we are unlucky, we can only wait for the next year." Esteemed Zhu Zhao said, "I'm afraid it will take up your time. It's okay. It's only a few years. It can't be considered a delay. Sometimes it takes me 10 or 20 years to comprehend a derivative divine ability." Esteemed Zhu Zhao said with a smile. Sing Hui nodded. After seeing Si Kongming arrange the void crystals one by one, he said again, "Esteemed Zhu Zhao, please activate the array." Esteemed Zhu Zhao nodded slightly and added a moment later, "For safety's sake, you should use the backtrack technique." "I understand," Sing Hui responded. A moment later, he seemed to have thought of something and frowned. If he remembered correctly, after Dongxian arrived on Earth, not only would he be unable to use any Yuan Qi or spatial laws, he would also be unable to use the various characteristics of the Son of Chaos. The only thing he could possess was a powerful physique. Even if he really used the backtracking technique, would it really be useful when he arrived on Earth? Moreover, esteemed Zhu Zhao, I remember that the various miraculous abilities of the Son of Chaos cannot be used in the spatial mezzanine. The teleportation might not be in the divine wilderness. If I use the backtrack technique, will it still be effective? Esteemed Zhu Zhao smiled. Your teleportation array will not teleport you to the endless void, right? As long as you are not teleported to the endless void, you can use the power of the Son of Chaos in any place that can communicate with the Chaos Temple. The backtrack technique will not be affected. Even if your luck is so bad that you end up in the Chaos Void, you don't have to worry too much. Our divine wilderness does not have a Chaos Temple master. The Chaos Temple operates instinctively and cannot unleash its power. As a result, the power of the Son of Chaos cannot be used in the spatial mezzanine. However, most of the Chaos Temples in other worlds have masters. The Chaos Temple radiates to the surrounding space. As long as you are not too far away from a world, you will be favored by the Son of Chaos and be able to use the power of the Son of Chaos to your heart's content. Is there a world where the power of the Son of Chaos cannot be used at all? This esteemed Zhu Zhao was a little uncertain after hearing Sing Hui's question. That shouldn't be the case, right? According to what I, Firmament, and even the people of the eternal and divine wilderness know, the Chaos Temple exists in almost every world. There seems to be a mysterious and great Chaos Master behind them. That is to say, they can use the power of the Son of Chaos. A world where the power of the Son of Chaos cannot be used at all should not exist. It doesn't exist. Sing Hui looked at esteemed Zhu Zhao. Could it be that those people have not mastered the method to sense the Chaos Temple? Not necessarily. Esteemed Zhu Zhao shook his head. Any place where a civilization system is formed will have people chosen by the Chaos Temple. The phenomenon of not being able to sense the Chaos Temple should not exist. The most likely scenario is that the civilization has very few people. Fortunately, one or two sons of chaos who have been recognized by the Chaos Temple will immediately go into hiding. If they do not appear, you will naturally not know where they are. When Sing Hui heard this, although he did not agree with this statement, he still nodded. The civilization had very few people. The Eastern Wilderness had a population of about 100 billion. There were at least 1,000 sons of chaos scattered around. If one son of chaos was naturally born in 100 million people, there should be 70 sons of chaos on Earth. How could, shaking his head, Sing Hui did not dwell on these details. He just had to be careful and not put the unfalling flower and other items in his personal space. Now, to him, the most important thing was to go home. Return to Earth. At that moment, he was already standing in the center of the teleportation divine array. Then, he took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, "Esteemed Zhu Zhao, thank you for your trouble. Please begin and activate the array." After returning to Earth, Chengfen will begin to reveal the background of this book one by one. Why the divine wilderness and the myths and legends of Earth civilization are mixed together. Why there are all kinds of legendary creatures in the divine wilderness that are similar to Earth civilization. Why a treasure like the creation of Vine Jade would break into 4 pieces, and so on. At the end, please use your recommendation tickets. Chapter 700. Dongyang Mountain, Ancient Huaxia. 13 years ago, Dongyang Mountain experienced a change. Space distorted, causing the core of Dongyang Mountain, the Dongyang Sword Sect, to be annihilated. Many palaces, courtyards, and Taoist temples built in the area were all turned into ashes. This incident became a legend in the area of Dongyang Mountain. In the next 1 or 2 years, it attracted countless tourists and tourists, faintly turning Dongyang Mountain into a famous scenic spot. However, this legend didn't last for long. Ferocious beasts attacked people on Dongyang Mountain, and some people even saw the ferocious beasts with their own eyes. Originally, the government intended to hide this matter, but as more and more ferocious beasts attacked and killed people, the matter could no longer be concealed. A large number of troops began to move to Dongyang Mountain and set up a defense line outside. However, due to the magnetic field near Dongyang Mountain, all kinds of powerful weapons couldn't be used in Dongyang Mountain. The army could only choose to move forward step by step. Less than 2 years after the government army spent a whole year to completely pacify Dongyang Mountain, bad news struck. Similar ferocious beasts appeared in several forbidden areas on Earth at the same time and wantonly slaughtered the nearby human settlements. When ferocious beasts appeared in such places, there was also a large-scale magnetic field disturbance, which seriously interfered with the use of strategic weapons. Purely relying on manpower to stop the ferocious beasts, the armies of various countries couldn't help but be defeated. From time to time, there were even news of entire armies being wiped out. For a time, panic spread, and the atmosphere of the end of the world gradually filled the sky above Earth. According to the elite troops formed by the governments of various countries who risked their lives to break into the hinterland of the ferocious beasts, there was a huge space passage in the place where the ferocious beasts were born. Behind the space passage was very likely another civilization. This was a war between civilizations, an invasion of Earth's civilization by a foreign civilization. In the face of this disaster of life and death for the entire human race, the entire world quickly united, and the cooperation between countries became unprecedentedly close. Even so, due to the continuous expansion of the space passage, the Earth's magnetic field was constantly affected. After losing the support of electronic weapons, the coalition forces of various countries were still defeated. 6 years after the first appearance of the dire beasts, which was 7 years ago, the dire beasts from a spatial passage located on the southern shore of the Mediterranean Sea came south en masse. They defeated the garrison stationed at the spatial passage and destroyed the local city of Tripoli, killing hundreds of thousands of people. The dire beasts then spread out and wreaked havoc everywhere, causing tens of millions of people to flee and become homeless. As the spatial passageway continued to expand, more and more ferocious beasts emerged from the spatial passageway. At the same time, they were getting stronger and stronger. The human countries held a second meeting to form the Earth Federation. All the countries in the world were united as one to resist the invasion of the ferocious beasts. Even so, the Earth Federation was still retreating in defeat in the past 7 years. Today, more than a quarter of the entire continent of Earth was filled with ferocious beasts, becoming a forbidden zone for life. At this time, in an observation station about 30 kilometers away from Danyang Mountain, a research team was busy with something in their office. This research team was led by the famous academician Luo Song of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, assisted by 2 assistants, Lei Xiong and Ba Wu, and 6 graduate students. At this time, academician Luo Song was explaining his theory to several graduate students. The first spatial passage appeared at Danyang Mountain, and before this spatial passage appeared, there was actually a related anomaly. According to a series of information, a year before the spatial passage was completely formed, there was a serious spatial distortion here. The mountains, rocks, trees, and a martial arts sect called the Danyang Sword Sect within a radius of more than 10 kilometers were all annihilated under the spatial distortion. A year and 3 months after the spatial distortion, people saw the figure of the dire beast for the first time. Instructor, you mean that the appearance of ferocious beasts and the loss of almost a quarter of our continent has an extremely important relationship with the spatial distortion at Danyang Mountain? A graduate student who looked about 24 or 25 years old asked. He was Bo Hong, and he was also the most trusted of the several graduate students by Luo Song. That's right, Luo Song nodded. According to the research of the Federal Research Institute on the corpses of these ferocious beasts, we have been able to determine that these ferocious beasts are, in fact, war creatures raised by an extraterrestrial civilization. Although there are currently hundreds of species of ferocious beasts, many of these ferocious beasts are clearly natural enemies, but they don't attack each other. This means that they're obviously following a will or a civilization that is full of malice toward our Earth civilization. It is precisely because of this that we have unanimously concluded that we are being targeted by an extraterrestrial civilization. And the main reason this extraterrestrial civilization is targeting us is because of that mysterious spatial distortion. Instructor, you agree with Dr. Eric's opinion. He claimed that our world is actually isolated from this vast starry sky, or that there's a mysterious force protecting our planet, preventing our planet from being exposed to the vision of those ferocious extraterrestrial civilizations. But now, there's a problem with this mysterious protective force. The world of Earth will inevitably step into the fierce battlefield of the billions of civilizations in the universe, right? Another graduate student spoke. Exactly. As Luo's song spoke, his gaze fell on the screen not far in front of him. According to my speculation, the mysterious force protecting our planet should be in existence similar to a spatial mirror image. It is like a stealth technology that allows us to live in this vast universe and stand in the endless forest of civilizations. But we are like invisible people ignored by countless civilizations. However, 13 years ago, with that strange spatial distortion, the fluctuations of our planet were obviously detected by other civilizations. So, they first launched a probing attack, and the first spatial passage appeared on Dongyang Mountain. Now, it is obvious that they have launched a full-scale invasion. Our human race is beginning to face a test of life and death. A full-scale invasion. Several graduate students looked at each other. After a while, a female graduate student raised her hand and said, "Instructor, I heard that a method to deal with these ferocious beasts has been developed. That is the martial arts and combat techniques passed down from ancient Huaxia. However, due to limited resources, they are only being promoted in the army for the time being. When this promotion reaches a certain level, we will definitely be able to take back the territory we lost, completely expel those ferocious beasts, and win the war against the extraterrestrial civilization." Luo Song glanced at the female student who spoke and smiled. "Although your words have nothing to do with our research topic, this topic is currently being hyped up in society. I can also tell you about it. You should know that although those ferocious beasts are powerful, in fact, if our world's weapons could be fully used, it is not impossible to eliminate them. However, it is because of the spatial distortion formed by the spatial passage, coupled with the interference of the magnetic field on our planet, that all of our electronic weapons will malfunction once they get close to the spatial passage. This is why those ferocious beasts are advancing step by step." When the graduate students heard their instructor mention the hottest topic in society, they immediately nodded excitedly and waited for their instructor to reveal the information. "In the beginning, we first started to develop anti-interference devices. However, we soon gave up because the cost was too high. There was an endless stream of ferocious beasts pouring into the spatial passage. If we really invested all our money into anti-interference devices, the economy of our Earth Federation would definitely be dragged down in a few years. At that time, countless people would face a situation of hunger and cold. Fortunately, just when we were a little helpless, some powerful warriors suddenly discovered that although these ferocious beasts can bring great destructive power to people, they are not completely useless. Their bodies contain extremely rich nutrients, and these nutrients are spread throughout their flesh and blood. If ordinary people eat this flesh and blood, they can prolong their lives and strengthen their bodies. If warriors can consume and refine these ferocious beasts' flesh and blood, they can quickly break their own limits and reach the realm of martial arts legends." When the graduate students heard this, their eyes suddenly lit up. "Instructor, are you saying that the rumor that spread a year ago is true? Can those ancient martial arts really fight against the ferocious beasts? This news will be announced in 1 or 2 months if it's fast, and it won't take more than half a year if it's slow. Our Earth Federation should completely announce this matter to the public, so there's no harm in telling you." "It's indeed true," Luo Song said with a smile. "At present, there are thousands of species of creatures. According to their strength, we humans divide them into low-level, mid-level, high-level, as well as the Lord level, Great Lord level, Disaster level, Annihilation level, and Apocalypse level. There are a total of 8 levels. One of the most famous warriors at present is Jiang Shengdao, the martial sage of ancient Huaxia. Jiang Shengdao was originally able to fight against high-level ferocious beasts. After consuming and refining a large amount of ferocious beast meat, He reached the level of being able to fight against Lord-level ferocious beasts in a very short period of time. In the past few years, his strength has improved by leaps and bounds. Just a month ago, he relied on a refined alloy saber, high-tech armor, and other items to kill a disaster-level ferocious beast head-on. Speaking of this, his gaze fell on the few graduate students. You should know about the losses our Federation suffered in the first battle against a disaster-level ferocious beast, right? An entire armored division. Although due to the paralysis of the electronic equipment, this armored division couldn't exert its full combat power. Tens of thousands of people died in battle to kill a disaster-level ferocious beast. How heavy is this price? The graduate students nodded in agreement. The reason why the disaster level was called disaster level was that each of them had the ability to cause a disaster. This point could be seen from the first disaster level ferocious beast that caused the sacrifice of tens of thousands of elite warriors and the cost of an entire armor division being crippled. How terrifying this ferocious beast was could be seen. Fortunately, there was finally an existence among the humans who could fight against this terrifying creature. Moreover, it was expected that as time passed, there would be more and more warriors of this level on the human side. One day, they would be able to fight to the location of the space channel and kill all the ferocious beasts that invaded the Earth civilization. Beep, beep, beep. Just as Luo's song was chatting with the students, a shrill alarm suddenly rang in the room next door. Hearing this alarm, Luo's song was slightly startled at first. Then, he rushed to the many instruments placed next door as fast as he could and frantically pressed the keyboard. However, when he saw the layer of spatial distortion that appeared above the mountain range of Donyang Mountain through the monitor, he suddenly widened his eyes. The next moment, a shrill exclamation resounded through the observatory. "Space channel! Quick! Inform the garrison immediately! A new space channel has opened on Donyang Mountain." Author's note: I will continue to explode today. Can everyone vote for Chungfen first? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.